see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots, and a sexy.
So, guys, we're back again here. Now You Made It Awkward podcast, episode 30.
Wow.
So we just recorded episode 29 yesterday, but we did not have Rikki. So Rikki had to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we caught up with Mike, though. So if you didn't listen to that episode, go back and check it out. You know, the somewhat umphant return of Mike. I'm not going to call it triumphant. It wasn't quite triumphant. It was just umphant. That's about the sound it made.
And they're triumphant.
Though I will tell you, Rikki, as teasers, you missed a very interesting conversation about clam penises. So,
No.
yeah,
Now I'm sad, and I won't.
You'll have to listen to it.
I listen to them anyways.
Yeah. So of course I am Shoky, and you can follow me at all the Shoky and Shoky reviews related things down below. And of course you have Rikki.
What's up, y'all?
And you can follow his work for Nerd Rage Radio on Facebook, where he makes their promo videos, and Friday nights on the Realm Hatton Project over on the Realm of Collectors channel.
Yes.
The podcast he doesn't miss.
No.
It's
set in stone. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
Ours is we're three people fluctuating everywhere. So
and you're also live. You're also live too. So we couldn't do this show live. It'd be such a mess. Yeah. And then we have Rob.
Engine.
What?
Speaking gibberish again.
Why can't he just say hello?
He's been touched by the Holy Ghost. He's speaking in tongues.
I can tell you what he can do with his tongue.
Good
what?
Lord
I
Almighty.
can't say whatever.
You called someone an engine, and I feel like somehow there's going to be some people offended by it.
Super racist.
It's super racist, Rob.
No, I was hoping that a good henshin sound would work, but it didn't work. That's okay.
No, because it's not like you said engine. So
yeah, it did not sound like you said henshin.
Derogatorily about Native Americans, or you're talking about fucking trains, or you're talking about some biochemistry company.
Yeah.
Either way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then.
So he's trying to either create dinosaurs. Yeah. So wait, did you have something that was supposed to make a sound then it didn't do?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, because you got to remember your microphone's going to mute extra things it thinks are noise.
It's true.
Yeah.
Too much phlegm.
Yep. So either way, he was trying to henshin, which means to transform, but he failed at it. So he basically
transformer.
The Japanese word for transform.
Actually, that would be gatai.
Oh, that gatai? What's henshin?
Gatai. Well, henshin is a transformation. So if you go to Common Riders, you go to
Oh, transform is gatai.
When you're actually combining everything together. So.
Yeah, gatai is transform or not or combine.
God, you fucking weebs.
Yeah. So we weren't combining anything. We were just transforming from one.
We were combining Rob's power with ours.
No. I'm pretty sure his power is just going to stay over there and think about what it did.
Shit.
So either way,
what can I say? You and Rikki are the Wonder Twins. I'm Gleep.
Something.
Form of bullshit.
Yeah, big pile. All right. So either way, let's go ahead and catch up on some comments that we have not done in quite some time. So this is going all the way back to episode 27, The Little Mermaids and Alec Baldwin. So let's see here. I believe, or this is from Laura, who has some of our merch. I believe because of the Brandon Lee situation, the safety standards for guns on movie sets is rigid and industry standard. My understanding is all actors handling guns are given training and strict protocols, including doing secondary safety checks. I agree the armorers are ultimately responsible, but if he didn't follow proper safety checks, which are put in place as additional precautions, he could be considered responsible as well. It was a horrible accident, but someone died. Many actors lost their careers for hearsay. So basically saying that, someone died in this case in this horrible accident, but other actors have just lost their careers due to bullshit, Okay, so accusations of whatever, unsubstantiated with no criminal investigation, they are canceled for much less. And she makes a good point. And after we filmed that or recorded that, of course, the news came out that he settled with the family, or the family's wrongful death lawsuit. And And the weird turn of it is that her husband is coming on to help finish the movie. So
they're still going to finish the movie after all that?
they're still going to go back and finish the movie. But
so that tells me it's not as bad as everybody makes it out to be. It was an actual accident.
No, it's because of him. He's the one demanding the movie be finished. He said it was her.
If it was malicious, or they could find a way to prove that he was at fault for it, they wouldn't finish that movie.
Well, I think part of it is that one, it's on him, because he says it was her final movie. I want it to be made, but of course things are gonna change. I assume Alec Baldwin is technically being pulled out of the production end of it because of obvious reasons, but I think there's still just because the family's lawsuit is done doesn't mean that there aren't other lawsuits that could be filed. So we'll see what happens. It just means it's done on that part of it. But who knows? And I think it may only be just from him, and who knows if her other family wants to continue to file or whatever. I don't know. It's progressing forward. The fact that news came out was interesting in and of itself.
So what, are they going to change the name from Rust to Oops?
Yes.
Oh God, too soon, Rob. Too soon.
Yeah, and then of course Mr. Dormammu also commented that he said that they settled out of court. Yep. Which is even crazy.
From Rust to Bustin' Caps.
There you go, but Rust in caps. Rust in peace.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
much worse.
I know.
Wow.
So Laura also commented on the more Little Mermaid end. Says Halle Bailey is a beautiful woman with a beautiful voice who deserves her own story. Although now that mention her eyes, I can't unsee it. Yeah. So my problem is Disney has pushed and marketed The Little Mermaid with one image for 30 years. Clothing, backpacks, dolls, shorts, or short movies, series even. A Broadway show, etc. Disney forgets who their audience is. Kids who have been raised with all that merchandise and movies who are wondering where the real Ariel is. They are kids. They do not care about politically correct or woke. They want the magic of the Ariel they met at Disney World that looks like the dolls they play with and the sheets they sleep on. To me, it's not about skin color or race. No one wants a white Mulan or Moana either.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and we talked about it, I believe, yesterday as well. Oop, that came apart. Where did the other part of it go? Oops, I'm sitting here fucking with things. I believe we mentioned it yesterday about how Bobby was talking about how you don't want this is the Ariel we know. This is the thing that was grown up on, and it would be just as bad if she was blonde instead of redheaded. It would still be fucked up, and you wouldn't want it. So it's not even necessarily just that her skin color is different.
The race, it's all of it.
It's the whole image. The image of Ariel has been one way for Disney for 30 fucking years, and then they're just suddenly gonna make a significant change. Let's just be honest here. So
which one? I mean, this isn't. I'd have to really go back on the article, but there was for a while a hard rule that was in place by, I want to say, Michael Eisner at the time, but it was that you don't mess with your characters and how they look.
Yeah, they are how they are
because there was a branding to it. It was all about the branding.
Yeah,
of that
exactly.
Character.
That's exactly.
You're not going to change
Laura's
the seven
saying.
dwarves to seven whatevers.
Hobos.
Little peoples.
Yay!
Right. But but there was a specific brand to it that was necessary, that was emphasized as, this is what you do, this is how it stays, you don't muck with it. Now that's obviously changed when Disney's perspective is what it is. So yeah, that's and people want to just make the problem is that the same problem is still continuing in other ways. It's just like, okay, why did they make this change? What the fuck are they doing here? And then this over here, it's just the problem as it exists is still spreading. But
I think I brought the Mulan thing up on when we were talking about it. I was like, people would lose their fucking minds if they all of a sudden turn Mulan white, because it wouldn't make sense to the goddamn story.
Or what
the character is.
Or how about this? What if Mulan was Indian and not Chinese? Right. That would be a massive cultural whoopsie. It's not even just a skin color thing. But did you guys see about the new? So I think the last time we talked, they had just announced that Velma was gay from Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
But the secondary news is that they were making another thing. I think it was actually a Velma show where they made her Indian because she was getting played by Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling, yeah.
It's like,
which
what the...
I wouldn't watch because that woman drives me nuts. I can't stand her.
But I mean, like, why? Why alter the character that significantly? You know, it's just like, who cares if she's gay? Nobody gave a shit about that in the first place. But like,
I would probably be a little more accepting of all these changes if it was even Stevens for both sides. And to explain what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. This mermaid we're talking about, I don't like it because it doesn't look like the mermaid I know. People say I'm racist because I don't like her because she's black. No, I just don't like the fact that she doesn't look like the mermaid I know. But everybody loses their mind and calls you racist if you don't agree with that. But where were those same people at when everybody else was flipping the fuck out that they made the what do they call them? The wise one, the old one, whatever it was,
the ancient one.
The ancient one in Doctor Strange.
They
made it into a white female.
Welsh,
and everybody's like, oh my god,
female.
thank God. That's no, they weren't. They were flipping their fucking heads and he's supposed to be Oriental and blah 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 blah. So it's not even. So everybody's problem on the internet isn't the fact that white people don't like to change. It's they think all the white characters should be changed to something else.
Well,
that's
I mean,
not. That's a what do they call that? A Ouroboros or whatever. That's a snake eating its own tail. It's making the same argument against what they like. So
I guess
it never made sense to me.
But there were people
were
people who did make a deal out of the fact that they had changed the ancient one from like a Tibetan male to a Welsh female.
That's what I'm saying. They were all flipping the fuck out about it.
Yeah.
But that's just doing a gender and race swap. Why shouldn't that be okay? Because we're making a race swap on Little Mermaid, so I have to be okay with that, or I'm a racist. So are all those people who made a big shit about that, are they fucking racist that they were mad that they changed to a white female?
Yes.
I don't know. I just think it was dumb because it doesn't make. Yeah, but I'm saying it doesn't make sense that, because I would love to see a Venn diagram of these people bitching, because I bet you there's a big, huge overlap of the same people that bitched about that are now the same people being assholes about this one. Just because they're on the internet and just want to run their fucking mouths and talk shit.
All of these things are true. All of this has happened, and it will happen again.
Yeah, probably happening right now while we're not even paying attention.
I mean, they made Starbuck a female.
Yeah.
But it worked out really nicely.
It worked out well because again, they didn't write her exactly. I mean, they weren't exactly writing her as an exact duplicate of Dirk Benedict, but they made it close enough.
Dirk Benedict just sounds like a porn star.
That definitely sounds. I was gonna say, isn't that the character's name in Boogie Nights?
Don't besmirch the face man.
All right, so we do have a couple more comments. Same video got. This is the most amount of comments we've had on a video in a while.
It's a hot topic right now.
Outside of a top 5, which, damn, my chair is squeaky. All right, John Tucker has a couple comments as well. He says, it's Hollyweird. Of course he'll be hired again and celebrated, but will be sued for wrongful death, which at this point we already knew how that went. And then I see another O.J. Simpson trial. Well, I mean, O.J. Simpson.
No, it's not that big.
That was murder.
That was a murder, not an accidental death.
Yeah, that was horrible murder. Not a quote-unquote accidental shooting. And then he also replied, if the female cop in Minnesota was convicted for mistakenly Minnesota.
Mistakenly
drawing her gun rather than the taser, then Baldwin should go to jail too, and the guy she shot driving away from a lawful arrest attempt.
That's not even the same thing.
That was a bad. That was a bad sentence.
That's a bad
but
analogy, yes.
Well, I mean, it's a bad sentence.
But it doesn't make sense. They're two opposite things.
Well, both were accidental shootings. She did not intend to shoot that guy. She intended to tase that guy. Neither did Alec Baldwin did not intend to actually shoot.
Well, if he was in a vehicle
Hutchins.
Fleeing, how was she going to tase him? So it doesn't make any fucking sense. That might be the argument now.
Well, no. Have you heard? Did you not hear about this case when it happened?
No.
So he was outside the car. She was running his record, and she turned to handcuff him. Oh no, they're trying to hand off. So her partner had him, and then they wanted to do a handoff to handcuff him, and that's when dude broke away and got in his car. So she's like in the door of his car, and he's trying to leave. Like he jumped back in the car. They left her running for some stupid fucking reason. And he jumps back in the car, and she's literally there with him, holding on to him. And
did he put the car in drive?
Yeah. So
then her shooting him would have been self-defense.
Yeah. So that was the argument, but she was found guilty of murder. So,
which is stupid.
So, but the thing is, she yelled taser, 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 but she didn't grab her taser. She grabbed her gun, and shot him instead. And then she said, "Oh my God, I think I just shot him." And then
so it's accidental.
Yeah, it was accidental for sure, but they didn't go that way because it was a young black man.
Of course.
Yeah, but her partner, who was there, who fucked up in the first place, was also a black man. So it's like, okay, it's like,
so why didn't she shoot her partner?
It's a fair point. It was the handoff, the trying to hand off to handcuff the kid was really stupid. He had a record, he had all kinds of stuff. I think the car was stolen. So I mean, that was a really big deal. But it was right behind the Derek Chauvin trial. So like they threw the book at her instantly, like without any kind of defending, you know.
Because you can't prove that she's a racist. Just the fact that she has a black partner that she never took a shot at or cussed at or treated like shit proves that she's not a racist. She didn't kill this kid because he was black. She killed him by accident, but was planning on tasing him because he was trying to kill her.
Yeah.
Driving off with somebody dangling out of your car is an easy way to kill them.
Very much.
I also find it really hard that you have your taser and your gun on the same side of your...
You don't.
They're on opposite sides. But the thing is...
the taser usually faces butt forward so they can grab it and pull it with their same shooting hand.
Well, it also... it does depend.
Plus there's a lot.
Yeah, but it does depend. Well, there's a safety on the taser, too, because you don't want to accidentally...
But in the heat of the moment of somebody trying to take off, maybe she cross-draws when she's like at a shooting range.
She didn't cross-draw. That was the thing. It's like it was a right or left. You know, one was on one hip, one was on the other.
Right.
So
but the taser is always on your cross hip, though.
It should be. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But for some reason, that's not what she did. You know.
Wow.
So I don't have an excuse for it. I'm just explaining what happened. Right. But they threw the book at her without wanting to call it a mistaken death. You know, all this kind of stuff.
That's
nuts. And of course, the department wasn't going to stand behind her because that's not what they do anymore. You know, we don't want
because then they're all fucking racist.
Yeah, and I think she was she had like 15 years or something like that. She'd been around a while. So she wasn't a newbie making a mistake. It was just a mistake.
But in the heat of the moment, that's an easy to make mistake to make when somebody's trying to run you over. I mean, you're not thinking your total clearness. Your adrenaline would be spiking. I mean, granted, you're supposed to train for that kind of stuff because you got to get used to that adrenaline spike in situations like that. But still, in the heat of the moment, I get they could get her for the accidental death and, you know, inappropriate discharge of her firearm. They could have got rid of her and probably put her in jail some, but making it a racial connotated
I don't think it was necessarily a racial thing, but of course, because the racial aspect was there, that was the headline.
It was 1,000% a racial thing if the cops wouldn't stand behind her, the department wouldn't stand behind her.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was right after George Floyd, right after the Chauvin trial. It was around about the same time as Kyle. Rittenhouse.
I know you're talking about,
I couldn't think of his name.
So it was very racially charged. Hers wasn't a racial based thing.
No, it happened to be that way, but it was a white cop shot a black kid, so therefore racist. You know, so either way, but no, he has there were good points made there, and like I said, still want some form of justice here, accident or not. It all needs to be investigated. The people who caused it to happen in the first place need to be held accountable one way or another. Whether it's jail time,
just so people understand, because we talked a lot. My argument wasn't that he was innocent. My argument was he shouldn't be held the most responsible just because he has the most money. That was my whole argument. Not that he was innocent.
No, but
they were chasing him because he had money.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anything. I don't think the money is the issue because money doesn't bring back your kids or your wife. You know, it's like, so it doesn't matter if they don't have $1 million, except.
So then why would they sue him for money then? If money's not the issue, you never go to that lawsuit.
Well, because
nothing forces you to go for that lawsuit.
Well,
or you go for the bare minimum. I'm in here just you killed my, daughter, wife, whatever she was. And her funeral is going to cost this amount. And this is how much all those medical shit was for her to go to the hospital and get found dead and all that. You cover all that, go on about your business.
Yeah.
I don't need money from you because all that money, in my head personally, every time I had to spend a penny of it, I'd have to remember where I got it from. And it would never feel right to have that money.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so that's it for all the comments. We haven't had any emails in a while. Actually, Jay never wrote his really long email, he promised. So that sucks. Jay.
Liar.
Write to us. Oh, Will actually wanted us to continue reading his Hell of a Boss review. but I don't know if anybody else has continued to watch it.
Ooh, there's a new episode
I haven't
that
watched
just
it at
came
all.
out.
Yes,
I
I've
don't know if
watched.
you've seen.
I watched the new one.
I
So-
haven't had a chance to yet.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. But you did finish the first season.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll do that another day because that's a longer thing. So either way, on top of that, so like I said, Rob and I basically did our weeks, and we only just did the thing yesterday. So Rikki can catch up on what his life's been doing for the last couple weeks since we last chatted.
I don't remember everything off the top of my head. Baseball, lots of baseball, lots of work.
There was lots of baseball. There were.
It's like 4 games, I think, since then. Like we finally actually started the season.
Mm-hmm.
We were 3-0 up until Thursday. We had our first loss. And when I say we had our first loss, I mean they beat the fucking brakes off of us. Like 11-1 or 11-0. I don't even remember. And the mess up thing is it's just because the boys didn't show up. Me and the coaches other coaches were talking about it, and we could tell when they got there, they were goofing off and playing around. They were all running around joking. They weren't there like warming up and doing what they needed to do to get ready for the game. And we talked to them after the game, and we told them, like, if you're gonna come in here ready to play a game, you gotta be serious. When we looked over at their team, they were over there warming up and practicing, getting ready for a baseball game. We looked at you guys. You guys were running around playing patty cake and tag and shit in the field. We get that they're kids and stuff, but when you go to the game time, you have to kind of pause all that because it's not kids you're playing against; it's opponents you're playing against.
Yeah,
and
like no time for slapdick.
Yeah, they weren't on it, and the worst part about it is this is a team that we beat during our scrimmage game. We had a scrimmage game before the season started so that we could see where we needed to work kinks out, and we beat the brakes off of their ass during the scrimmage game. Then we get out here and play an actual game that matters, and they lost. So we were working on it with them. It wasn't horrible, the kids got all dejected like they do. They don't take losses well, and I pulled up the app that we use for the fields. And I showed them. I said, even with that loss, you're 3-1. The closest team behind you is 2-2. You're still the top ranked team in this league. They're still all going to be gunning for you. So unless you want to feel like this every time we play a baseball game, you better come ready to play because they're definitely coming ready to play because they want to knock you out of that first seat. You want to keep that spot. You're gonna have to hold it.
Oh, yeah.
And I told them, I was like, it's like playing King of the Mountain. You go up there to the top of the mountain, and those other people are coming over to push you off. You don't just sit there and start playing tic-tac-toe. You have to fight to keep that spot. Same thing. You're top of the mountain right now, and they're all wanting your spot. So we have a game tonight. We'll see how that goes. See if it got into them. Practices have gone well since then. We've had a couple practices. Worked on some of the stuff we saw them doing. So it's never fun for them to lose. They were doing good on stuff that they could do, and then there's stuff that just should have never happened that we've seen them not do any other game that they were just doing this game. They just weren't there. They weren't in that headspace. So just marking that one up to a bad day, something like that. I don't know. Maybe because it's a little colder. It was like the first cool game of the season that we'd had. So maybe that just kind of had them different. I don't know. So that happened. What else? I finished some TV shows. I think we're going to talk about some of them. I watched some movies. I watched Halloween Ends.
What's the status on Letterkenny?
I still haven't unpaused it. I'm in season 6 or 7, wherever I was at.
Okay.
Yeah, roughly the same.
Yeah. You caught up to me?
Just I'm at the very end of 5, so.
Oh, fuck me. I'm gonna unpause today after we get done with this.
I'm about to pass you both on my rewatch.
Yeah, well, you've already watched it like 5,000 times, so you're not actually sitting there watching it. It's just peripherally in the side while you're doing stuff. I'm literally just sitting there watching it because I've never seen it before.
Yeah. Well, but before I started into this project that I didn't mean to start today, I was watching it. So I was like legit watching it while eating breakfast and whatnot. So yeah, I am rewatching it.
Working like crazy. Knee's still a little trashed. It's better than it was, but it's not as good as it used to be.
What happened to your knee?
So I told my wife, I haven't even told y'all about that.
I don't think so.
I thought we'd talked since then. We were doing sports ball with the kids, and I forgot I'm 42-year-old soft trash, and I planted wrong and twisted and heard a pop, and my knee started hurting. That was on a Sunday, And then I'm very pig-headed and hard-headed about going to the doctors. Like I could literally have like a bone hanging out of my leg, and Carol will be like, "Okay, it's good time to go to the doctor." I'll be like, "Man, just put some spit on it and wrap it in paper towel. It'll be fine." I'm that kind of person, and it's to me, it's just it's not that I don't trust doctors or any of that stuff. My mom's a nurse. I've been around medical my whole life. So it's not none of that. Needles don't bother me. I'm not scared of none of that. I hate the waste of time that it is because to me, I feel like if I got in there and the doctor saw the bone, they could try to push it back in if they could, do some stitches, put a cast on, whatever they had to do. That should take me an hour instead. I spend a whole fucking day there waiting for them to come in and talk to me for 5 minutes. And that I don't like. So I'm not a big fan of it. So Kara knows if I ever tell her, yeah, I need to make an appointment for the doctor, that's usually a big thing. Well, Monday morning after I did that to my knee, I went to stand up out of bed and literally collapsed to the ground. Like my knee just collapsed on me.
Shit.
And I was like, yep, time to go to the ER. So we went to the ER. They did x-rays and stuff. Nothing was broken, and they put me in one of those immobilizer braces with like the steel rods running down the back and the sides.
Oh, shit.
That goes from like your ankle to your mid-thigh.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, here's the paperwork. We can't really tell. It's going to be something that you're going to need an MRI for. You either tore something or sprained something or ripped something really bad. They're going to have to get in there with an MRI and look around. So here's this orthopedic surgeon number. Call them and talk to them. So all the rest of that day, Karen and I were taking turns calling them, and it would ring and ring a bunch, and then it would answer, and then it would hang up like immediately. So I kept going, and finally I got pissed off. I was like, fuck this shit, fuck that. I'm off Monday and Tuesday. Wednesdays I work a double. I work a 15.5-hour day on Wednesdays. So I'm like, I need to get this figured out before then. And we're too shorthanded for me to just say, yeah, I can't come into work till I feel like it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I said, let's call my personal doctor is in like a medical group, like inside of a facility. So they have all the different doctors like in that same area. So I was like, well, let's call them and see if they can't just get me into the orthopedic doctor there and like get it immediately looked at. We called them and they didn't have an opening till Thursday. That was last week.
Okay.
And they didn't have, so this is not not yesterday Sunday, but a week ago Sunday.
Yeah.
So they said Thursday, and I'm like, well, I got to work Wednesday and Thursday. I don't have time to fucking do that stuff. I mean, there's nobody to cover. Like literally, like my CDM or my kitchen manager would have to step in and fill my position because there's no other bodies to put there. And so I was like, okay, fuck it, we're not doing that. I had we went to the store and got a brace with like the hinges in it where you can move.
Sure.
Because ironically enough, it hurts when I stand straight on it. Like when I'm standing up, just like holding myself up, it hurts. But if I keep it flexed a little, it doesn't hurt. So I was like, I'm gonna get one of those braces with the hinges so I can move it. So even if I'm standing there, I can just kind of lean on my left foot and just kind of, kick my right foot back and let it stay bent a little. So I contacted my boss, someone was going on. I'm like, look, I am not gonna be able to do a double. I can't do 15 hours on this leg. There's no fucking way in hell. I said, get somebody to cover just my morning shift and I'll come in for the afternoon part of it. And I had some old pain meds and muscle relaxers shits here at the house from previous. And I know before anybody writes, you're not supposed to take old meds, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't kill you if you take old meds. They just become less powerful. That's all it is. They lose strength. So like I had some old Vicodins in there from an injury a few years ago, and I had a few left. So I was using those. Feel great. When in Wednesday it hurt, I had to like put myself like in a corner and lean and just kind of do standing still kind of works and stuff. So I still felt like shit because I don't like other people doing my job. And so I went like that through Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I would just go to work. I would take a Vicodin, make it through the day, and then come home and just ice it down. I have these lidocaine like patch things that I'd put on it and just ice it down and put it up and let it relax. And it slowly started getting better. Like it didn't hurt as much to step on it. I was still limping like a motherfucker, but this week I'm not really limping. Like I feel it now when I step on it. So I'm telling Kara, I'm like, it's fine. It's just I strained it or pulled it or something because it's gotten better. It's not as bad as that first day. It's not perfect, but it still hurts a little. So I'm sitting out here today and The dogs were out here with me on the porch, and there's like a bird flying overhead, either a buzzard or an eagle or something. And dogs always freak out about that. You know, Karen always joked that Harley thinks they're flying dogs, and she's asking them how the fuck they got up there. And because they just run around with their heads facing straight up, barking and like standing up on their back legs to try to get up to them and stuff. Well, these dummies were doing that shit, and Luna took a dive right in deep into my pool.
Oh, that's
And
what y'all were talking about when I came in.
yeah. And so I had to pop up real quick and run over there because she's a little Chihuahua Dotson mix. So she's a little dog. And she didn't try to swim to the shallow end to get out on the stairs. She was just in the deep end scrabbling at the wall that she couldn't get out. So I had to run over there and drop down and just grab her by her scruff and pull her out. And when I did, my knee popped again. Now it hurts like a motherfucker all over again. So I told Kara, I was like, if it's not better by the end of this week, I'm gonna set it. We're gonna definitely have something set up by my next days off.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to stop hurting, but I don't want to keep it at this level and possibly make it worse to where I have to have surgery or something. So
he's now more machine than man.
Yeah, I told Kara, I was like, if I do, you know, every time I get bed, I'm gonna do make like noises and shit, like the $6 million.
What happened?
One, I've gotten some stuff in the mail. I got a New Age's Jetfire. I got in Magic Squares. What's his name? Mirage. I got a package for my brother that was really cool. He told me he's an artist, and he asked me what the boys' favorite Transformers were, and I told him. Well, he drew them some pictures of their favorite Transformers and stuff like that.
Well, that's cool.
And he was sending me something. Another friend of ours, Jason, had told me I could have the New Age Megatron with the leg replacements, and he had sent it with that in the box. Well, I took it out, and then on the bottom of the box it said surprised down here, and you had to pull this tab. And when you pulled it up, he had drawn me a picture of Soundwave with like his tapes and stuff, and then he had put like a sticker or something that said flip, and when you flip it over, like he put them inside like huge like card plastics, you know, like you put baseball cards in. They're these big ones, I guess, that are specifically made for like posters and stuff, and that's what they're in. And so I flipped it over, and he had done a digital art rendering of the version that he had hand drawn on the other side. So I have a colored on one side and the actual hand drawn pencil lines on the other side.
That's
which
awesome.
is really cool. And he sent me the MMC Calidus, which is like their IDW hot rod. I'm like, why is this in there? He's like, I accidentally ordered two, and so I figured you could just have one for your collection. I'm like, so we have like matching shelves or something. I was like, that's cool. So I got that in. I just now, right before we started recording, FedEx pulled up out front, and my cameras went off, and dogs alerted me, and I got into 40th anniversary He-Man, just because it's a really cool looking He-Man, and I needed a He-Man for my shelf. So depending on what they do with Skeletor, I might have to replace my classic Skeletor with them, because this figure is pretty fucking good, man. The only thing I'm thinking as I'm looking at it is like it's got a lot of the gray plastics for the weapons and shields and stuff. I might paint it, but the rest of it looks great. It's great articulation and stuff. It's a good figure. So I think that is. I have other stuff incoming. I have New Age's fuckballs Ultra Magnus coming in. Shozy got some in stock a few weeks ago, and EE told me, because he knew I'd been waiting for it, because BBTS, I've had it for pre-order there since I started collecting Legends.
Yeah. And
he told me, he's like, hey man, they're up on Shozy right now. So I went and grabbed one, having it shipped, and I'm having it shipped with the leg replacements for the Constructicons that they did. And then I have those incoming. You know, they take a few weeks from China. They'll be here probably next week sometime. But then I have the Viper 3-pack. BBTS told me they're on their way. And then I also have one of the twins coming in, because BBTS is weird like that. It's either Tomax or Zaymont. It will be here either today or tomorrow, and the other one hasn't even shipped yet, so I don't know what the fuck's going on. Other than that sounds about it for my week. I know you gotta do your magic and chop it up and put it in wherever you need to.
Oh, dude. This may also be ahead of time, but the Zap Dragon Zord just came in to stock at BBTS.
Nice. Is that the one you're getting?
No, I'm getting the Super 7 ones.
Super 7.
Yeah, I'm not on board with the Zap stuff. I think it costs too much for what it is.
For what it is.
Yeah. It's like if I could get my hands on the Sola Chogokin Dragon Zord, I'd be down because it would go with my Megazord. No, I've got the Super 7 ones just because I think they look like they walked right off the fucking screen, and I think they will size properly with the Hasbro monsters.
A little better, yeah.
Yeah.
That thing, and something else I found out too, since I sent it to y'all, I saw that Robeson Prime back on BBTS or whatever.
Yep.
It's not the same one. It's a smaller version. I guess
really?
Derek B was at TFCon Chicago, and he's in one of the groups that I posted that in, and he said actually that's a smaller one because Robeson was there in person.
Yeah, it doesn't look
with
as
a bunch
big.
of their stuff set up.
Yeah.
And it's the same exact thing, just slightly smaller. So it won't fit the trailer that's coming out next year, but they are working on a trailer for it that will come out after that.
It says 16 inches, so I don't know what that.
The other one was like 28 inches, 30 inches. It was big. Like,
I don't know if it was that big, but yeah.
It was big because Derek said his grandson's scared of it because it's as big as he is.
Let me go look.
So
I'm gonna go see on.
I want to say it's like the size of the combiners and stuff. So somewhere in the 24 range, maybe up to 30, somewhere in there.
Could do. I'm gonna look it up real quick because I want to see, because I know it does on T.
So it's not on sale. That's why it's cheaper, is because it's slightly smaller.
Yeah, that's weird.
But still, it's cool because a lot of people were saying that was one of their problems with the Robeson Prime, is it's so big, it takes up some real estate, you have nowhere to put it. So they're like, okay, cool. So we'll put out a smaller one and sell that to you. So, but it still does all the same gimmicks and stuff like that. So that's still cool. That's on BBTS.
19.
See, 19. So it's what, like 4 inches different?
3 inches shorter.
Just reminds me of that plot from Transformers Animated where they all start buying sound waves.
Yeah.
And then they all start revolting.
That is weird that they only shrunk it by 3 inches.
Yeah, in height, but it's like smaller all around.
Well, I mean, yeah. They scaled it down, but yeah, that's weird that they would just make it a little smaller for only $100 less.
In a display cabinet, 3 inches makes a huge difference in display areas.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's only $100 less than the original.
Because they know people want it, because that first one sold out like crazy, so they can charge a little more than what.
Well, they were, from what I heard, they were re-releasing it with the trailer as well. So the same size with the trailer. It was also gonna,
like a box set or whatever.
I think it was gonna be a box set, but I think they also said you could buy them together, not just as a set. But that's what I saw. But no, I didn't even realize. Yeah, I didn't realize that was a different size.
I didn't either when I sent it to y'all. That's why I was updating you, because somebody else come in and told me the difference between them. And he sent a picture from TFCon Chicago where you see the whole table set up from Robeson, and they have the small one in truck mode in front of the other one in bot mode, and then they have the trailer over there too, all opened up.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. I'm not in just because I don't need it.
I mean,
I don't know where I'd fucking put it at.
I mean, I would review one if someone I knew had it.
Robert D has one.
Yeah, but I'm not going to have Robert D send it to me from New Jersey. I mean, if someone I knew here had one, on hand.
You know a lot of collectors in your town?
I do, but I don't at the same time. Yeah. It's like, that's the problem. It's like I internet know them, but I don't know them. Yeah. Okay, so good news. My package is out for delivery, and it says it should be here soon.
So which one?
That is actually my issue of ISOM #1 from the Rippaverse. So nice. That we talked about that independent comic thing, a couple weeks ago. So it did finally ship Friday. So like they were having a big problem with shipping stuff. I mentioned that before. Like a bunch of their stuff got really delayed. Like the actual prints got stuck at like UPS or something like that. He was having big issues getting them in so that he could fulfill the orders. But so that's good that, considering mine was literally like 2 days before it ended, and I'm, getting it, when I'm getting it, cool. They shipped them in the order people ordered them. So,
gotcha.
The earliest orders got shipped first, and unfortunately I didn't get any of the earlier cover variants. I got the C cover, which is fine, but it's a, one of those once in a lifetime things to get in on the beginning of a new comic book series, in industry in a way. So, I'll check that out. I'll probably read that this afternoon. blow through it. It's like 90 some odd pages. But yeah, I think that should probably just lead us into TV then, since we got to get caught up on all these shows that ended since we last talked.
Well, I did have that one quick story, and I'll be.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah,
seconds, yeah.
Your other. Go ahead.
So the quick story here was that we had discussed on the prior episode about my son having a birthday, and we actually had gone on a little trip this past weekend, but the weekend prior is really when we did his actual birthday party. We haven't done large birthdays in a couple of years. Certainly not anything that was like, oh, hey, let's have a bunch of people. So we decided we would, for this year, for both our kids, we would do a nice big birthday parties for them. So my oldest had their birthday party earlier in the year, and this was my son's turn. So he's very big into video games, and I thought, in thinking about it, like, oh, well, where would we go? Would we do like kind of an arcade thing? Would we do where would he really want to go? And I had the brilliant idea of, what about a game truck? And I don't know if y'all have seen these before, but they are
I
basically
have.
giant mobile gaming experiences that
Mhm.
drive everywhere and set up and etc. So that's what we did. We rented a gaming truck for he and his friends, and he had an absolute blast. This thing was huge. I mean, we've got a fairly large driveway that's about 40 feet. This thing was that
Lex.
and then some. So, but it was amazing. Like, the outside had multiple screens, the inside had multiple screens with systems set up. The experience was actually really well priced, like like $400, like 350 for about 2.5 hours of kids, as many as 26 could play. And so the guy was also really friendly. He was like, I don't set up a bunch, for little ones, I don't set up a bunch of, like, bang bang kill games. So it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of screaming, but it was really an enjoyable time. And that was kind of the most impressive thing, because it was like, everybody's passing by, they see this giant gaming truck on in our front driveway, and my wife is like, we're making everyone jealous, aren't we? And I'm like, yep,
Yep.
sure are. Lo and behold, like, literally a couple days later, we're hearing from a bunch of people, hey, I went to a party that was like that a couple weeks ago, I really got to look into that. So it's always good to be a trendsetter.
Yeah. I delivered to a house that they were building one. Like, this was a long time ago. I mean, probably like 8 or 9 years. And they had like one of those, they had a smaller one that was basically like a large, like the party buses, like the ones you can, just take out, and they converted that. And then they were doing like an 18-wheeler trailer as well.
Nice.
Yeah. So, I
Nice.
mean, like, that industry's been around for a while. So when you've mentioned gaming truck, I was like, man, I have not seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, but they're all over the place, and they're pretty amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really cool idea, especially if you're going to do a party situation, where you're going to have a lot of kids doing a thing. It totally works. Like, if just you and the boys on a Friday night, maybe not. But, it's like have an adult birthday party where you're all drinking and gaming, and you don't have to worry about it being in your own house. That might work too.
Right, exactly. Yeah, plus, when you're done, there's not a whole lot of cleanup. It's like, you're just basically, we set up some fold out tables, set up cake and some other stuff. It was super easy. It was super easy to, like, get set up. It was super easy to break down, and we didn't have a lot of, like, fuss.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds awesome. We need Rob to be our dad, Ricky. He does all the cool shit for his kids.
Yeah, this is a one-off. So next year we're like, yeah, simple birthday.
I just realized Ricky's muted. He's doing something. So, okay, so we'll wait for Ricky to come back, and then we'll talk TV.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna pause for the time being. Unpaused. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, shows that have wrapped up. So we have She-Hulk that finished.
Thank God.
We never even talked about the last 2 episodes.
Trash. Thank God.
Okay,
I'm okay.
now that Rikki has said that, I was actually fine with it. I actually appreciated the ending.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Let's move. It's a move on thing. They did what they did. They set out to do what they were gonna do. It's a very have at it thing, but it's at the same time, it's just the footing just did not land right with a lot of people, even the people that were fans most of the way through. I'm okay with it. I thought it. I'm taking it for what it is, which is literally that one off that we'll see her
They
character
literally
at
tell
some
you that
point
it's
in a serious
stupid.
mode.
In its
It
own
was.
episode, they
It
tell
was
you
as
it's stupid, and
it
we're
was
supposed to
as
laugh at that
goofy
and
as
be okay with it
possible.
being
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
And
It
that's
was
the
as
one thing I
goofy
didn't
as
like.
possible.
I liked the Kevin bot idea. I thought that was really cool kind of concept to be like an artificial AI doing all the MCU stuff, you know, getting those keynotes in there. And that's pretty funny because we all talk about how they kind of have those same beats in all of them. That's funny to me.
Yeah.
But when it switched to the, oh, I know this show is shit and we're going to keep it being shit because people want shit to make that a laugh. What you're really telling me is you knew this show was shit. You knew I knew this show was going to be shit. So you made a joke out of it to make me forget about the fact that this show is shit. And
Well,
it didn't. It made it glare even harder for me.
Well, they were doing that the whole time.
That was bad.
But
I mean, it was blatantly in your
integrated.
face. It wasn't. They didn't try to make a joke or hide it behind anything like they've been doing the whole show. He flat out, the computer just flat out tells you, we knew it was shit. You know it's shit. We know you know it's shit, but it's funny. So ha ha ha, you like it. Garbage. Just garbage. In the ending.
Well, all they did was voice the opinion that everybody always says is like, look, you only like it because Marvel's doing it, and you like it because it's the formula they always pump out, and you'll go and watch it regardless if it's shit or not. He literally just stated what everybody already knows. That's the thing. It's like, you're gonna watch it even though you know it's crap. And it's like, that's what you want. You just want to be fed. So he was actually calling out just people in real life. And I'm guessing that's more or less why so many people are mad, is because he called out the reality of it.
Not really, like, because if we know that, and I'm one of those people that I very much know that it's gotten very formulaic, and that's why it's kind of, it lost steam towards the end of the MCU and stuff like that. And it took a big hit like an Infinity War to pick it back up again. And just because you know that I know that, well, you have the power to not be that way. You putting it in your show is a joke that you're keeping it that way because I know it's shit is stupid as fuck to me. That is a slap, a literal slap in the face, because they know we think it's trash. They said it in their show, but instead of fixing it, they're going to leave it the same and just tell you that they know that we think it's trash, and you're supposed to laugh at that. That's too far.
My hope had been sort of that. And this is where I get they just kept up with it. My hope had been that perhaps after the cliffhanger that was leading to the last episode, that they would have gone, instead of making it, no, they didn't need to make it a big brouhaha, but they would have made it more, how do I explain this? The whole point of us enjoying the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that it, and I'm reminded of this every time I think of the first Avengers, is that it's a sort of a what if this actually happened in our current universe. Like, what if we had these superheroes and they were in the middle of New York fighting an enemy? What if these were real things? What if Shield was a thing that was created? What if it's that taking the reality and just meshing it enough to what the Marvel universe is to make it feel like it was realistic. And that's what I was hoping they would actually kind of do.
That's what I was hoping for the last one.
Was to take Jennifer's perspective, and instead of treating it more like a comic, actually go more realistic with it, where, hey, this is now my reality. This is who I have become. Now I have to actually be part of the real world to this, because now I see where my cousin was telling me I am now this person. I am now She-Hulk, and this is who I am. And instead of consistently instead of really breaking more fourth wall, instead of just bringing it back and saying, okay, now she's part of the UC universe, they could have changed and this is the other thing that kind of gets me. Like, I had gotten the Marvel Legends figure. The font, the logo on it is vastly different than what they used for the show. If they had gone and been like, okay, we're changing the font of the show, it looks more like it's an actual MCU. It looks more like, and then she's like, okay, now I'm actually part of this. And it goes so much into, and brings her back into it rather than it being a cartoony breaking continuing on with it, bringing it back, because that would have been, to at least to me, in my opinion, would have been a little bit more relevant to bringing her into this phase. But they didn't. They just basically took that cliff, jumped off without a parachute, and tried to land legs first, and instead did a belly flop. And
took us with them and
they
laughed about
treated
it
the
the whole way
final they
down.
treated the final guy as this build-up character that turned into a whole nothing burger, and it kind of felt deflating overall. Not that I didn't enjoy the whole aspect of it, but they could have gone in such a different direction. And I don't know if that's again, this is where I'm like, I feel a little bit not let down, but left out of. This is not part of where they should have landed with this.
No, if they had taken, again, like you said,
it is what you
chance,
take of it.
So if they'd taken that chance of the last 2 episodes and steered away from some of the yucks and made it a little more serious, I think people, including myself, probably would have enjoyed it more. But they didn't. They literally wrote it out to the last second. They even had like a Gilmore Girls fucking ending at the end of the goddamn show.
Exactly.
They make Daredevil look like a total fucking doof the whole fucking time he's in there. He's a fucking idiot. He's not Daredevil from Netflix that I know.
And then in defense of that, the action scenes with him were actually,
the action scenes were awesome, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about his characterization.
The thing is he's not technically supposed to be that.
He is supposed to be that.
They've said that basically
brought it over.
I know what they're actually, because they even said a Kingpin is not technically the same Kingpin. Might be the same actor, might be all that, but it's not at the same time, because Kingpin
they said that because they knew they were going to do this stupid shit to him.
Well, no, but
it is the same one.
No, because they do want to diverge a bit from what Netflix did. They might reference it lightly, but they're not going to just straight go back into it because they didn't make that show. They're going to use the characters as they were developed, but they're not going to. They're going to make them their own from there.
They're going to use the multiverse Band-Aid.
It is.
This is the same Matt Murdock, but from a different multiverse. And in this one, he's a funny yuck guy.
Correct.
Well, he's just.
That's where they're going to try to go with it.
But he's just moved on.
With his one-night stands lady's fucking house with her family so they can make funny jokes about babies and getting married and yuckity yuck. Isn't this funny? Ha 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 ha. Fuck no.
It was funny.
Stupid.
So I want to make a point. I want to make a very different point to both of you. And the title of the final episode said it all. Whose show is this? And the entire time, once you realize, wait, why is all this shit happening? None of this makes sense. Where we got Abomination, where we got the what's his face turning himself into a Hulk and all this shit. It's like, wait, that doesn't. Wait, why did Bruce just show up? This makes no fucking sense. What's going on? So she breaks the fourth wall, goes to Marvel Studios, wants to talk to the person in charge. Turns out the person in charge is a weird AI robot named Kevin as an acronym.
Yeah, Kevin Feige
with a hat.
Is a robot
with a hat built over the thing, which I thought that was hilarious. And what did she end up doing? She's turned it back to her show. They literally said, "We don't give a fuck what your expectations of this show were. This is my show, and I'm gonna do what I want with it." Which was like the ultimate dig at all of the fans who have talked shit from the beginning of, well, they should have done this or they should do this. They literally said, no, she's literally just going to do whatever the fuck she wants, regardless of what anybody wants, even the person at the quote unquote top. So, but I love that they sort of integrated fan complaints in with the Kevin bot.
But that's the problem. Is they didn't integrate it in. So here's the problem: is you're assuming they recorded this video after fans started complaining. They didn't. They had this show done before fans even had a chance to complain about it. So
that's not true.
They did it on purpose.
There were reshoots near the end, so they did have because remember they test show this shit to people so that they can make alterations as it goes. They can change CGI shit up until the day something releases, and sometimes even after stuff is released. So they could probably go in and change some of those little fake YouTube comments to certain specific things after people have seen the pre-release episodes. You gotta remember, reviewers also got to see the first 4 episodes months ahead of everyone else.
Yeah.
So if they got complaints, they could also integrate that in before the final thing releases. I mean,
But then I'm going to give you a hypothetical to what you're saying.
well, let me finish up.
You in the foot.
Well, I was gonna say, let me finish my original thought because you cut me off.
Yeah, sorry.
They dealt a little bit with some of the criticism of Phase 4 with the Kevin bot. Like, why are any of these things happening? None of this shit seems connected. This is stupid. Why are these decisions being made? And then they said, well, there's Kevin bot, and Kevin bot has a specific formula that's supposed to be facing, and whether you understand it or not, there's a greater plan in place. I mean, excuses be what they are, but we also know that something is going on. And now with the trailer that we all watched just before recording, sorry, I just dropped something. We know that there is a greater power involved in fucking with things in potentiality with Kang. So there are some theories out there that the Kevin bot is either serving Kang or will come up against Kang at some point in a weird reality.
Dude, if they use their jokey Kevin bot that they put in there to troll fucking watchers as anything anywhere else, that should be a one-time shot. It was bad enough. Don't bring him in to fight the main villain of something. That would be ridiculous.
I think if this was still technically because She-Hulk has popped out of her own comic to go talk to the artists and writers before, but because it's the
that wasn't her.
Yes, she has. Deadpool. No, she has. She absolutely did in the old days.
I never read that one.
Yeah, so she has done that, but they just updated it to being a TV show. But the one part I loved is whenever she literally broke through the Disney Plus menu.
Yeah,
I thought that part was actually great but the funny thing is it didn't 100% reflect what was actually available at the time, but it was still a cool image. Now I get why everybody complains. Don't get me wrong, I understand why you complain, but you know, it's like, to me, it's like, yeah, the ending was weird, but I didn't hate it at all. Like, I disliked the ending of Miss Marvel more because of the way it wrapped up. It was just like so quick. It was like we had all of this long, slow, drawn out thing, and then we have one sort of slow motion fight, and then it's just over. It was like,
that's what they did in this. It just wasn't in slow motion.
Well, because this one wasn't supposed to be about punching people. This is supposed to be about Jen's character development.
But that's what I'm saying is it's the same thing. It's the same formula. They got to the end. There was the main villain was revealed. They fought it out. It's done. It's over with. And then they throw a stinger on to get our dicks hard for the next thing.
Yeah.
So in Marvel, in Miss Marvel, they threw in the talking about the X chromosome, and then you hear the X-Men theme start to play.
Yeah.
And this one they threw in Scar.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still the same shit.
Which, by the way, is that Robbie Amell?
I don't fucking
because it looks like Robbie Amell, and I don't know if they credit him or not.
So, I just know that my biggest thing, 2 things. One, the fourth wall break that she does, they never explained why she does it. In the comics, we understand why it does. It's because they've become self-aware that they're in a fucking comic. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how, like, Deadpool is so fucking crazy. He realizes that the world he's in couldn't possibly be real. So there must be something out there creating around him. He figures out that there's something out there. In this, they never even bothered. From day one, she was just talking to the camera. Like, they never bothered to explain how that happens or why it happens at all.
Maybe
they just make jokes about it. Every time you go to question it, they slap a little joke. Who are you talking to?
It might be.
Goes, oh, here I go talking to nobody again.
I mean, Bruce already explained that her gamma mutation was different from his, to the point that they could now utilize her blood to make other Hulks in a different way, and allowed him to heal himself. So in theory, it's one part of her gamma mutation that she is self-aware of the universe.
And all the ones that I remember, again, I'm not 100% accurate on everything, but all the fourth wall breaks that I remember, like with Deadpool, it was never noticeable to others. It was like he paused the world that he was in. He jumped out at his fourth wall shit and then went back and unpaused it. The fact that people notice that she's doing this, she just sounds crazy and looks crazy in her own fucking world.
But
because she's not doing this, like a fourth wall break is technically like how we would think something in our head. That's
Yeah.
them just thinking it out loud, and
So
we can read it on a page.
I was in following it as the show went on, it almost seemed like people paid less and less attention when she did it.
She wasn't around as many people sometimes when she was doing it. Sometimes she was just doing it when it was just her there by herself. But when anybody else was around, they noticed it and said something like, "Who are you talking to?"
It was
What are
only
you looking
Bruce.
at?
Bruce is literally the only person who ever reacted to her talking to someone else.
I'm pretty sure the lady that worked with her called it one time too.
I don't think
Because she's like, "Who are you looking at?" or some shit like that.
I think people are imagining that happened because I've rewatched most of the series, and after
why would you do that?
Well, because we could do this show. So Bruce notices that she turns and says something, but he doesn't say anything to her. All he does is look at her. So that's the first thing. Nobody has ever asked her, "Who are you talking to?" He's the only one that took an active thing and went, whatever. And then the second episode, when she gets the new job and, she's walking through the new law firm and everything, talking to us, not a single person looks at her weird. Her new boss is talking the whole time, never turns around at, "Why are you talking when I'm talking to you?" Nobody acknowledges that she's doing that. So it's like, maybe it's only Bruce who would even notice that she's doing it.
Yeah, and there's been some allusions to that from other sources too.
Yeah.
And then my biggest thing against the Kevin bot, the hypothetical I wanted to give you, but I wanted to wait till you finished your thought on it, was, if I shoot you in the foot, it's going to fucking hurt. I know if I shoot you in the foot, it's going to fucking hurt. But I'm going to shoot you in the foot anyways and tell you it's funny because you knew it was going to hurt and I knew it was going to hurt. And now we both know that at the same time. That was literally the ending of that show. You cannot that is not funny writing. That is them whitewashing over their trash and trying to make you laugh it off instead of realizing they know we think it's shit. And instead of fixing it, they're going to laugh at us and try to make us laugh at them laughing. That is fucking dumb. That is a horrendous slap in the face to fans. If I was a diehard, like, how I am about Batman, if I was a diehard She-Hulk fan, that ending would turn me straight to fuck off of a She-Hulk anything from that point forward. Because now you're just telling me you're just fucking with me.
Well,
that's like an internet troll coming out and say, "By the way, I'm trolling you guys while it's happening." That's just nuts.
Well, one way I would look at it is that we've seen movies, TV shows, and other things literally be altered by fan complaints, especially on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen it all go for the worse in almost every, almost every complaint.
Yeah.
That the episode, the Star Wars episode that doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
That's a main example. Certain things in the DCEU were affected that way. A couple other movies and TV shows have been altered because of fan reaction. There are changes made because of fan reaction, and generally speaking, not in a positive way. Mm-hmm. So to me, this was like, look, we know you're going to complain. Half of you are going to complain for one reason. Half of y'all are going to complain for another. Look, we're not going to change it just because you complained. We're going to do what we're going to do. And
they literally said, "We know you're going to watch it anyways, so we're going to pump out shit."
And that's the point. But they were 100% correct.
That's a dick move, though.
Why? Because they pointed it out?
Because if they literally are telling you, "We're going to bend you over and dry hump you without even telling you it's coming. We're going to laugh about it and then tell you liked it afterwards." That's fucked up, dude.
But that's not what it was. Well, look at this. Bobby has not liked the show. He calls it trash. He calls it the worst thing that Marvel's ever done. But he watches it.
Mm-hmm.
The same. They're talking to him.
I've told you that. I know. They're talking to me too.
Yeah, they're literally like, "Look, we know you're going to complain. We know it doesn't make sense to you."
But I don't complain about everything they do. I complain when they do trash. I didn't complain about Moon Knight. I loved the fuck out of Moon Knight.
Yeah,
Bobby hates Moon Knight. I liked it.
Mike hates Moon Knight. But then he loves it too.
Yeah, Mike hates it.
But then he loved it too, so it is what it is.
Miss Marvel, I hated it when I was watching it week by week, but when I did that thing, we tried to talk to Mike about Moon Knight, I waited and watched it all at the end and have it as one big whole. I actually enjoyed it for what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think this is a case really. Ultimately, it boils down to where the product didn't meet the expectations of the maybe the group that was expecting it. I mean, you could.
And that's not the problem. The problem is they knew it wasn't going to reach that group, and then they joked about it and laughed in your face about it in the show. That's the fucked up part.
I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure where they could have.
See, but this is where I think Marvel somehow listened to me instead of everyone else and said, who gives a fuck? Do what you want to do. It's like, you can't.
You're the guy who, no, but you're still in that same group because you're still the guy willing to watch it. Doesn't matter whether it's good or not. You're going to watch it because it's Marvel.
No, but the thing is, I'm not watching it just because it's Marvel. I'm watching it because I like it. I can easily give up on it if it sucks.
But you did give up. You literally have said yourself on here, you're like, I gave up on fighting and arguing about it because it doesn't change anything. So I'm just going to accept it and and find something to like about it.
No,
you
but
literally said that on this show.
Yeah,
so you have
but
done
it's
that.
but no, it's the point. The point is, I'm not going to find something to like about it. I'm going to figure out if I like it or if I don't like it, and not give a shit that other people are so angry that they don't like it. But the point of
and two-thirds of this panel at least appreciated it, so we'll take it for what it is.
Yeah, but
which is exactly where it stands.
I appreciated it, like I said when I watched it with Kara.
Yeah,
remember I told you that.
Yeah,
like when I was able to watch it with her through like the non, mainstream nerdy fans, I enjoyed it for that. But that ending, no bueno. That ending was just that was shit. That was them literally shitting on fans.
No, it wasn't them shitting on fans. It was shitting on the people who claim that they're fans as long as they get their way. Because if they gave you, because this is what I always say, it's like, look, who do they make happy? Like, this is the question. Who are they supposed to go out there and make the show for? Who are they supposed to make happy? Who are they?
Comic fans. Because
no,
that's what they're making a comic movie.
No.
But I understand what you're saying. They have to make it for a broader audience because they don't want just that small slice. They want everybody. But then the small slice who gets left to the side is still allowed to bitch about it.
And they can bitch about it, but they have to acknowledge that their bitching isn't going to change what they're doing.
Yeah, but
that's what the show did.
To acknowledge that we're going to do whatever the fuck we want, regardless of what you say, because we're still the main fan base. Because when the normies get tired of this and move on to the next big fucking thing, we're the ones that are still going to be wanting to watch comic stuff and nerd stuff, not them.
Okay, but this is where my argument for months now has been: they don't care what the comic fans want because they're not making stuff for comic fans. They're making stuff for MCU fans. But the only thing they can base it off of is comic characters that have not existed in the MCU. But everything they're making is in the MCU. It's from the MCU. So,
but they're not making that for MCU fans because that dumping on them was towards the MCU fans too. Because MCU fans have said this is getting very formulaic. It's boring. It's the good guy versus the exact opposite as the bad guy. It's getting dull. It's getting this. It's getting that. And they still said, "Fuck you." It's a numbers thing that we're gonna make. You see what I'm saying? So they still said that to them too, not just me.
But the point was that Jen said, "That's stupid. Why do that? We're changing it."
Mm-hmm. And she said that, and then they kept it the same. They still did the wubba dub dub ending. They still did a stupid formulaic ending with the bad guy. It still was the same. She could say it all she wants to, but she didn't do it.
Yes, she did.
She didn't change it. How? They introduced the exact opposite of her, which was some guy trying to Hulk himself out, and then the Abomination. Both things are just exact opposites of her.
And the
fight happens. It's over. They have a happy little.
But the fight didn't happen. That was the point. They eliminated. That was the point of it, is that she eliminated all of that. She went to basically, we discovered this. Todd outed himself. I remembered his name. Todd outed himself is what was going on.
Because it's a douchebag's name.
Yeah.
He was a douchebag.
Yeah. So they could have called him Chad. It probably would have worked too. But either way, but the point is like, no, that fight didn't actually happen. All of it, basically it came down, like she rewrote that whole ending so that all of the normal Marvel garbage didn't happen and just skipped. And the problem is that we skipped over it, the actual actions, and she jumped back in at the end and got her happy ending in more ways than one. But the whole,
which is a better MCU ending than what we've been getting. Which is fine.
And true, but the whole point was that she said, okay, that's fucking stupid. It's like, we don't need Abomination in here. That goes against it. Although they acknowledge that he clearly had to have transformed at some point, and they just caught him in doing it. But they skipped over everybody's fighting in the thing. They skipped over Todd ever becoming a Hulk. They skipped over all that. They said, nope, we're not doing that because it's fucking retarded. And we're going to do it this way. I want to end it this way. Oh, and it's not going to be set at night. She changed the time of day. It's like she said, all of this is stupid. She even acknowledged that whenever they have fights, it's always at night, so you can't see shit. So the point was, like, they said, no, we're going to change this, and we're going to do it this way. So it's like, was it a great ending? Did some of it kind of dumb? Yeah, I acknowledge it was kind of dumb. But it also, to me, for them to call out both the fans' nonsense and their own nonsense. They said, yeah, we do this. It is stupid. Why do we need to do this? And then they turn around and then they didn't do it. It's like that. Well, they undid it, I should say. You know, and for one time, it's like, okay, so the good girl or the good guy usually doesn't end up with the girl or the
Love
boy,
interest, yeah.
the love interest, and she got to end with the love interest. Whether they continue anything on, who knows? Who cares? The point is, here and now, you know, she was struggling to date someone. She found someone good, and then he was leaving her life. So she had the ability at that point. It's like, you know what? Fuck that. I want a chance. And said, dump him in there too. It's like, I know it doesn't make sense, but dump him in there too, because the fans also want some more Daredevil, and so do I. So dump him in there. It's like it already didn't make sense where we got to this point, but let's just change it up anyways. It's like, so they didn't care about the angry fans, which was fine. I was fine all the whole season with them going head to head at the angry fans. And then, you know, then they called out their own bullshit at the end and then didn't end it in a way that remotely was expected. And like, to me, that actually made it a better show because they didn't do fuck all for fan expectations the whole show. And I was like,
well, if they continue that process of not having the same old MCU thing, then I'll go back and give you that point. But until I see that, this is only a one-off.
Yeah,
this is just them.
So,
if they don't do this in the next one, if it goes back to the old formula, then this was literally them just talking shit to fans.
Well, the only problem with that is, of course, the next few things have been done. So we'll see if they
but
don't
can go
end
back
that
and
way.
Change it all the way up until the last minute.
Well, we're not talking about TV. We're talking about movies because they don't have any more shows coming for a while.
They had time for movies too.
Well, the thing is, like, so Black Panther 2 is coming next, which is done. So I mean, they're probably not going to change anything else by this point. Which, by the way,
that's not going to be underneath the same formula. I think that's going to be more worried about handling the Chadwick Boseman passing than it is
as long as they also don't kill off the main fucking villain. You know, that's the other thing that Marvel has been so bad about throughout. Oh shit! Even since Phase 2, just one-off
Namor or whatever.
One-off villains. It's like, don't kill Namor. One, because he's not a bad guy, not really. So the bad guys, odds are, is going to be leaning more into a global bad guy, not a specific bad guy.
Yeah,
and then
they haven't shown us yet.
Yeah, and we just got the Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumania trailer, which shows us our next mega villain, basically with Kang. And I love that they did look good. Yeah, and he looked good in Kang mode and in his more He Who Remains mode.
I missed the Kang mode. I saw the He Who Remains mode.
It's very fast, but there's like these like circular things that are like coming up around somebody, and you can tell it's him in the middle. You can see it blatantly.
Okay.
Yeah, go back and rewatch it. It's on screen for about.
What was the guy that looked like he had a giant like lighthouse on his head? What was that?
Oh, that I don't know. There's going to be a fuckload of characters in here that I have no idea, because like the quantum realm is full of a whole thing. There's a whole city down there that they teased back in Ant-Man and Wasp. So it's interesting to even see that Kang is basically ruling over the quantum realm in a way. And yeah, it'll be, I just want to know how the hell they have their suits after they go into quantum realm, unless everybody's got their nano suits on or something.
Yeah, because they didn't really show that. Like, they showed him being sucked in wearing his regular clothes, and then the next scene he's in his Ant-Man outfit without a helmet. I'm like, what the fuck?
In theory, everybody's got nano suits now. So, you know, it is what it is. But then again, they could
around in their pockets.
His ring.
Yeah, well, no, it could just be
like the Flash.
It could be compressed in his pocket, because they've done that where it's shrunk down. They just put it in a pill case or whatever.
Yeah, so like a key fob.
but their daughter, you know, or his daughter, I should say, changed actresses again. But you know, it is what it is. So we see her in her suit. I forgot what I think Stature is her name.
I thought she became Wasp.
No, it's she has her Cassie Lang has her own character name.
It is Stature, yes.
Yeah, Stature. So, you know, another person is at least this time they're technically not going against somebody who has their same powers, because they have 3 people on their side with the same exact powers. So, you know, in theory, it's like we're just going to be fighting very small people.
They have 5 because Pym and his wife are both used to be Wasp and Ant-Man.
Yeah, but I doubt they have suits now. And well, actually, she might have quantum realm powers after being there for like 25 years. So I don't know. It looks really cool. Although there was a shark boy lava girl moment there. Rob said something about that, and I'm like, damn it, now I'm not gonna ever not see that.
Now you're not gonna be able to unsee it.
Fucker.
Which part?
There's just a couple spots throughout there. You'll see it. I can't tell you off the top of my head because I have to
Talking
go
about
back
like the
and rewatch
shitty
it.
animation stuff.
It looks
No,
super
it just
green
appears very
screen,
green screen-y.
super green screeny, which it will be because there's not going to be half this shit's going to be practical.
Once they enter the quantum realm, only those main characters are going to be real people.
There'll be like and Kang, you know.
Yeah, well, that's the main character.
Kang, Michael Kang. So also another movie I talked about it. We talked about it yesterday. The Creed. Have you watched the Creed 3 trailer yet, Ricky?
Yeah, I was talking about that with somebody. I still have not seen any of the Creeds.
Oh, okay. So you and Mike have not seen the Creed movies.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
I've wanted to, but every time I think about it, like when Creed 2 came out, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go watch Creed, and I can't find it anywhere to watch on any of the streaming services without paying for it. I'm like,
they are good. They're good movies.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've always heard they were good.
And it's Ryan
Coogler.
Ryan Coogler. So, you know, if you like, you know,
and this one has some sour grapes attached with Rocky, you know, with Sylvester Stallone being fucked on it, which is, you know, low key his fault, but also very much key the other people's fault for doing it.
See, that part I don't know about
yet. Hey Ricky, I'll ask you the same question since you missed the last episode. What plot is that actually from?
What?
Creed 3.
You've seen the trailer, right?
Like real quick. Like I watched it once.
Okay.
Where the friend comes out and he has watched Apollo's son do.
Oh, it sounds like the Tommy Gunn shit from, what was that, Rocky 4 or 5?
That's funny. I said Rocky 4. I said no, it's Rocky 5, but I said that too. Yeah. But Rob's got a good point here.
Black Panther.
Black Panther. Oh
yeah,
god,
it's so Black Panther
kicking ass.
He's He watched the other person rise and get all the stuff he felt like he deserved, and now he's coming back with, you know, after he's been working out, now he's gonna fight. But also the big thing about it is the guy who he's fighting in this one is Jonathan Majors, the guy who's playing Kang in the MCU, and he is jacked. So
now is his character supposed to be like the son of Mr. T from Rocky 3?
No, he's just a dude that he was in juvie with Adonis.
Okay.
And he got left behind. You know.
But my thing with it is not Rocky not being in it, is Sylvester Stallone. Y'all heard about that? He got fucked like on the royalty parts.
I didn't hear about this because, you know, he's the owner and the director.
He signed something like years ago or some shit like that, where he doesn't get any stuff on the tail end of anything spun off of Rocky. So that's why this is being built into its own trilogy called Creed, is he's not getting paid out of this. He got like a one-time lump sum. We can make other movies based on this property without you having your fingers in those pies.
Well, he was really involved in the first two, so I don't know where that.
Yeah, he was in at a production level. You know what I'm saying?
And
but
writing.
Like, he was getting, like, it was his percentages of what changed. Like I'm saying, he got a lump sum for doing it. But now, like, all the royalties and the continuations, he's like out. Like, he doesn't get paid for it and anything. That's why I think he's shown as a producer of this one.
Yeah.
But he's not in it or anything because he's not getting that royalties from it. So there's no point to it.
Yeah. I'll look into it because I hadn't heard any of that.
Yeah. It was some weird shit. I think EE was talking to me. That's who I was talking to, like those guys on like a hangout one of the nights we started talking about it, and they were telling me about it. One of the guys in that group mentioned it, and they started talking about it and stuff.
Yeah,
might have been Nick Brammer or somebody. I don't know, one of them.
So as Rob is about to turn into dad mode, I do want to ask him. It's like, is there any shows that you need to talk about offhand?
No, I'm gonna finish playing catch up with everything, and then I can cover my opinions.
But okay, because I didn't know.
I've still got. Yeah, I just finished episode 6 of Andor, so I still have one.
You're not watching House of Dragons, right?
So he's not watching House of Dragons, and he's behind on Andor.
I'll let you two cover it. You know.
What about Rings of Power?
Also last episode I missed. So.
Okay, so you
haven't watched it. Is it finished now?
Yeah, it's over. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
okay,
done.
So
yeah, at least for this season. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll hold off on Rings of Power since Ricky hasn't seen it yet. So.
No, I told y'all up ahead, y'all can spoil the fuck out of that motherfucker. I'm gonna watch it regardless. I'm just been waiting for it to get done.
Okay, well, I'm saying he hasn't watched it either, so we'll just we'll just skip Rings of Power. But if Rob's got to go transform into dad mode, we'll go ahead and let him go, and you and I can talk about House of Dragons and Andor.
Do the anagram, Rob, for House of Dragons. You have to say when you guys are talking about that show, the Hot D.
Yeah, it's the Hot D. Yeah, it's a Hot D. That's a Hot D.
Best anagram
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah. Well, now that he's gone, we could talk about him.
Rob is the hot D, the hot Dormammu.
The hot D. Rob's hot D hot takes.
Oh God.
So actually no, because we've talked about the whole series.
Why did I get a boner?
Yeah, because that was a sexy voice. That's why.
Yeah.
So when Rob Cat actually sits down and watches that whole show, so he'll have to give us an episode by episode hot take, and we'll call it Rob's Hot D hot take.
That'd be nice.
Or Rob hot takes the hot D.
Yeah,
That's it.
That works.
That's
that
the
works.
best one.
Now was this the season finale? Because it was episode 10?
This is the season finale. Yes.
Fuck, I hate that cliffhanger. I hate cliffhanger.
But that's what they were going to do. They were going to do the cliffhanger. I just didn't know where it was going to stop. So we haven't talked about it for
forever.
For shit, almost 3 weeks now, I think.
Yeah,
Essentially.
I think we were all the way back on like episode 5 or 6 when we last.
No, we'd be on episode 8.
Think so?
Yeah, because it's been roughly 3 weeks since we watched and talked about it. So the show continually got better and better.
Mm-hmm.
We got more dragons over time.
Mm-hmm.
We got more time skips, which I will argue that I think has actually hurt the show a little bit, jumping a little too far at a time and not getting enough time to develop characters. So like what was it, Rhaena? Was that her name? Damon's the little Valerian girl that Damon ended up marrying, you know. So we got the you remember. So remember, we did the time skip. So we only saw her as a little child. We saw her very, very briefly as like a teenager. And then they did the big time skip to where...
Was that the special needs one?
No. This is the one that the king was supposed to marry, and then he chose Alicent.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the black girl. She said, my mom said, I don't have to bed you till I'm 13.
Yeah, so,
okay.
So Damon killed his wife, or let her die, quote unquote.
The one that was giving birth and went to the dragon.
Well, no, I'm
that's
saying
the one. That's Rhaena or whatever you're saying.
Yes. So we talked about her death, but my point that's where we left off. We left off at that episode, so we're a few behind. We never really got anything with her character. Like we just basically saw her get older really fast, and then die. So like we're supposed to. There's no weight to her death, unfortunately, because the show was sadly in a hurry to get to the kickoff of the Dance of the Dragons, which is what this whole war is going to be called. But how did you feel when we actually got that episode where Damon and Rhaenyra finally got together? Was it a little icky, or was it a
little bit, but they also kind of, well, I mean, it wasn't icky, like, because it's expected, because we know that that's what they do. The Targaryens do. We know that from Game of Thrones, but it was still kind of, I want this to be hot, but it shouldn't be. Like, it was like one of those type things. Your brain try to fight against it because we know that that's not okay, but in their world, it is okay.
Yeah, and I do think that the thing that wasn't really conveyed very well was that realistically, he's only like 10 years older.
Yeah, so he looked a lot older than her in that.
Yeah, it's because
that was still when she first. That was before the swap, wasn't it?
Yes. So I mean, obviously, Matt Smith has been the same the whole time.
The whole thing.
She changed at the 10-year time skip, you know, so that's where we got everyone aged up.
Yeah. And now she looks a lot closer in age to Matt Smith. The other one with the removable mouth looked like a huge gap between them in ages.
Yeah. So that was the thing, but that makes sense then. And, you know, they are some characters. The only person who severely aged up, and it wasn't even about age, it was about his medical condition, was Viserys. So it's not that he suddenly got like 70 years old. He's actually only in like his 40s.
Right.
But he's got a horrible form of leprosy, and the more he...
That's what I was trying to figure out, if it was leprosy or was it more...
No, it's leprosy.
I think, what's the other one? What's the one that Capone had? Syphilis.
Yeah. Oh, no. No, it was leprosy because Paddy Considine, the guy who played him, came out in an interview because everybody was wondering, and actually in the books it was never told what he had.
Yeah, because it could have been diabetes, it could have been grayscale, it could have been a bunch of different things.
Yeah, so it basically said that it was a form of leprosy. Like, it's not seen very often in universe, and there's no name for it in universe.
Gotcha.
So it's just, they just call it some type of sickness, whatever.
Mhm.
And like they showed that he had holes in him, like, basically just
They
rotted
did the
through.
Two-Face thing to him.
The Two-Face thing to
Two-Face,
him, which in the books, apparently, I think that was also something. He did lose an eye and like a chunk of his face, his teeth were falling out, all that stuff. Because, but dude, okay, so that thing that I sent that you were asking, what is this? When I sent it in the chat a while back, that was actually his goodbye.
Okay.
So he wrote that as his goodbye because after his character died.
Right.
So I gotta scroll back to find it. Okay,
Yeah,
so
you can.
so I know it was
Hold on.
before. No, I got it right here. I got it.
You got it, family?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just had to go back. Oh, by the way, apparently Firefly's now on Hulu. So
Yeah, I did see that.
yeah. Okay, so this was from Patty Considine. He said, "Thank you for the kind words. I cannot reply to every comment, but I'd like to acknowledge that they haven't been lost upon me. It was an incredible adventure where I made lots of new friends that will be with me for the rest of my life. I'd like to thank the creators for allowing me the freedom to make Viserys my own." So he actually, the character itself got tweaked by the actor.
Mhm.
So I have never loved a character so much. I want to give massive love and respect to Brooks Cyan, who came in for only a few days. I guess that's the woman who played his wife initially.
Mhm.
But changed the course of my character with her brilliant performance and commitment to the work. The impact stayed with me until my final improvised words. So actually, when he died, his death words, he came up with that. She unlocked the missing piece of the puzzle for me, allowed my story to come full circle. From the moment she dies, so does Viserys. It was a love story. That's the secret I carried with me. As sick as he gets, he never himself demands any cure. He quietly accepts his suffering, never forgiving himself for putting his beloved wife through such torture in her final moments. Viserys was a gift. I am so honored he found me. Now, no more. So that's a big thing about that character that I think was never technically said aloud. Was that, yeah, he was rotting. He kept getting fucked up. He kept going through really bad situations. And it was him punishing himself for making that horrible decision that killed his wife.
Yeah.
And, like, that's pretty deep. Because I don't think that's included within the book. So, and also, in the book, he dies a little bit differently and a little bit later. He actually doesn't even get injured until significantly later. Like, we see it, like, first episode when he pricks his finger. And he's got that one injury on his back, and then he slowly rots over 26 years. So think about that. So from episode 1, actually not from the beginning of episode 1, but from where our main characters finally kick in, from that part of episode 1 to where we left off was 26 years.
Wow.
That's a huge time span for 10 episodes. And, sometimes we'd only spend like one episode in a specific time period, and then we jump again. 6 months later. Actually, from episode 1 to episode 2 was 6 months. So we're not going to get a lot of time skips from what I know. Like from here on out, like most of it's going to be like maybe weeks or so, but not like years. We're not jumping super.
This is now the cast we're riding with to the end of the show.
Yes. So the only cast that may or may not change a little bit would be anybody's kids. Just because of, most of, see, the thing is, there are kids that we've not seen. So like, the asshole new king, Aegon. So the other creepiness, he's been married to his sister and they have kids.
That's the special needs lady.
Yeah. And I don't even, they're kind of playing that down.
That's because they don't want to get in trouble for offending anybody.
Well,
that's definitely what she is.
Well, the thing is with her is that she's a green seer. So she kind of, while they make it to be like she's almost autistic to a degree, it's actually that like she has the same kind of powers Bran did. So, but later, like not just his warging abilities, but like she sees the future and the past. So she's kind of everywhere, every when, but has no real control over it. It's just she's living in the past, present, and future all at the same time. So she's just odd by that, no way that turned it into like a processing problem. So she's a lot of things she has said. She's only been given very few lines in the show, and almost everything she said has been a prophecy of something that's coming. So It's like the one that happened in episode 9 was something about the beast below the floors.
Okay.
And what happens? A dragon comes breaking up through the bottom of the floor of the dragon pit. So there's a very important one coming up that she's going to say and it's going to be in the next episode in theory of season 2. And without spoiling anything, I will just give you what the words she's going to say, because it won't have any meaning until you see it happen. And it's blood and cheese. Won't make any sense. Will make no sense until it happens, and then bad things will happen. Because from here on out, lots of bad things happen. So, what I was getting at is that they actually have 3 kids. We've only seen their babies. They actually have an older kid that hasn't been shown on screen yet. And Alicent has another son that actually we've never seen on screen. That's been away at Old Town with the Maesters. So actually she had 4 kids with Viserys, but the 4th one has never been shown on screen. So that's pretty crazy. And I think this episode was the first time we saw all of Rhaenyra's first run of kids all in one place, all the way down to her littlest one, And then they quickly shuffled off her kids with Daemon. Like they weren't we saw them as babies basically when she introduced them to Viserys. Including, she has an Aegon as well. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and apparently that's going to be a thing where Alicent gets pissed off that Rhaenyra also named her kid Aegon as a slight to her, So, dragon fight. What do we think?
At the end of that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool, and I'm gonna say they caught me off guard with what they did with it. I did not think they were gonna. I thought it was gonna happen in the. Are we talking spoilers? So we can just say it without having to
spoiler talk here. Obviously, everybody should know by now. We talk spoilers.
Yeah, 999, 998.
We said it. They had their chance.
I was just spinning off of Nerd Rage's 98. I just jumped it up to 1,000. But when they were in the chamber and he's like, "You're gonna give me your eye." I thought it was gonna go down right then and there, and I really thought he was gonna get his eye, and that was gonna be kind of a catalyst for her getting pissed off and more war oriented than trying to find a peaceful way to do it. But they went the full fucking degree of it and just had the dragon eat his ass. And I was like, that's fucked up. But the whole fight of it, I thought it looked really good. Only like once or twice that I was like, man, that looks super duper kind of fake. Like,
it
looked rough.
I think I know the point you're talking about too.
Yeah,
but there was
like rough. And then if anybody would have done it in your head like I did when he finally broke through the top of the clouds. What was your first thought?
I was thinking about How to Train Your Dragon personally.
Almost. I went the other way. I went never.
You're going never in a story, but no, that's
Falcor. Yeah, like that's what I expected to do when he came out at the top of the clouds.
My other thought was, okay, if he's that fucking high, he ain't breathing because there's not that much air that high.
Breathing.
He's gonna be fucking suffocating.
And then, like while it was happening, like after it got past the fight of them in there and the chase started, I originally thought the guy was just fucking with him, and
he was like, initially.
I know, but then I was like, oh, the fucking lightning's gonna get him. He's gonna turn around to look at and see where this guy is and catch a bolt right to the fucking face and fuck them all up and kill him.
Yeah.
But they went the whole other direction, man, and that shit was crazy. That shit was nuts.
See,
and that dude who plays Patch Magoo, whatever his name is,
Aemond,
he did a great job selling the emotions on his face after it happened.
Yeah.
The oh fuck, what just happened? Switched over very, very naturally. It switched from that to oh well, fuck him. Like you could see it happen on his face.
Yeah. So
like at first that surprised, oh shit, what am I gonna do? To you know what, fuck them, let them come for me if they want to. He did awesome selling that without saying a single word.
Yeah. So I think, like, I guess because I knew what was coming because of the shows I watch around this show. So I knew that was going to happen, but I also I had I actually had the wrong dragon in mind because it was Arax was
the little blue one
was his dragon.
Yeah.
I thought it was Vermax, which is actually the older brother's dragon, so I had that wrong in my brain. We still haven't seen a lot of the dragons in this show that everybody has. So like,
and what was up with Matt Smith singing? Whose dragon was that he was singing to?
Okay, so I'll get to that here in a second. Let me finish this thought.
Okay.
I was gonna get there because that's an important. That is an important one from here on out.
I assumed it was one of those ones that he listed off, like this one's over here and that one's over there.
It is.
I assume it's one of those.
It is, but I don't think he dropped the name of that dragon when he talked about it. So either way, so when the whole scene of "Give me your eye," all that kind of stuff is almost verbatim from the book, and he basically, like, it was actually supposed to happen a little. It was actually, he was supposed to be provoked into chasing the kid. So he had been betrothed now to that one chick, but apparently what happens is the other ones shit talk him, and then he gets pissed off and goes after the kid.
So like he went back and the brother's like, aha, you didn't get him to do it because you're a pussy, that type of shit.
But it was the sisters. So the thing is with the Baratheon dude, he's only got daughters. So he knew his line was over. So his whole thing was like, okay, I've only got daughters, so fuck it. So
that's a dick move to sell out for that one, man. That's going to come back and bite him in his ass.
Eventually, probably. But we know the Baratheons still exist in the future, but this one might be fucked. Well, okay, if the Baratheons somehow exist in the future, then something else must happen. So
yeah, well, the kid's getting one of the daughters, so it's obviously going to be one of them.
But the name wouldn't be Baratheon in the future. So we'll see.
That is true.
We'll see what happens.
So how's they going to? That would be. How will they work that out?
Who knows, dude? You can always fuck someone else and make.
Then he's got to survive somehow, I guess, and have a kid somewhere along the line.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure something will come of it. But either way, it was one of the sisters because he had 4 daughters. Then Aemon goes for the oldest. And apparently the prettiest, I suppose. There's something in there about that. They're not all unattractive, but it was basically like, okay, I think he talked shit to them and picked the prettiest one initially. So all of that was off camera. It would have been interesting to see it. But then it would have spoiled the surprise whenever he showed up and, oh, fuck, So either way, it was one of the other girls talking shit about, it's like, oh, I guess you must only have one ball, too. Because, like, saying he didn't have the balls to fucking go after the kid. But I mean, the Lord Baratheon was right. You don't attack a messenger. That's the whole point. That's I think Daemon did that. Remember whenever he beat the fuck out of Viserys's messenger that told him, "Hey, we're gonna come fucking help you," and then he went off to war by himself. So yeah, you don't fuck with the messengers. That's why Rhaenyra told them, "You're not going as warriors. You're going as messengers, because that way you have protection." At least from the people whose home you're going to.
But we know in this universe for sure, nobody gives a fuck about that because the rule of sharing salt meant somebody was safe in your house, and we all remember how the Red Wedding played out.
Yeah, but that's why Walder Frey got his in the end, because he broke those cardinal rules. So the thing is, the Baratheon didn't break the rules. He said, let this kid go in peace, and then what happens... He said, what happens outside of my castle, I have no control over. So what he said is that no blood will be spilled under my roof. So blood was spilled over his roof.
But she's not going to be mad at...
but...
Her anger will be that you didn't protect my son. Like, you should have done better knowing that the kid was after him. But I think it's going to be more the fact that he didn't honor their oath. What she's gonna be pissed at him about.
She's gonna be pissed at them not honoring the oath, but she also had nothing to offer, only just calling for banners without a trade. And mind you,
which as a king or queen, you don't have to give them anything. If you pledged your oath to me and I say, hey, it's wartime, motherfuckers,
but it was
you're
also
supposed to stand up and just do it.
It was his dad
her buying.
It was his dad that did it, and that's
where the change came.
So that's why he was a dick about it. It's like, well, the guy who says he's king has offered me his brother, and now I'm going to be married into the fucking family, so you got nothing. I got no reason to fucking hold up my oath. Yes, he's a piece of shit. But he also didn't
give her a chance to come back with an offer either.
Exactly. But at that point, why would he? He picked a stupid side, mind you, but, who do you go with? And nobody knows at this point. It's like, because it was all fucking Viserys' fault for continuing on a conversation. Now, there is something about maybe Alicent did technically poison him, whether it was an active poisoning or because of his condition, and she gave him what she gave him, that basically
exacerbated it.
exacerbated him. He already can't breathe well, and you give him morphine, he's just gonna
She
die.
Angela deathed his ass.
Yeah, exactly. So
but the thing with that is she heard what she wanted to too, because she ignored everything else that he said and just focused on the Aegon part of it.
Exactly.
So she said he wants Aegon to be king.
Yeah.
Which is something most people do. They latch onto one part that makes them right in their statements. Or
I mean,
whatever.
he was not, and he also, and
he was quoting the poem and his like,
the ice and the fire, ice and fire,
fire
and ice, and then he said, Aegon's dream is what he said.
Mm-hmm.
You are the one. He said, "You are the one." So that had nothing to do with
he is the king.
Yeah, because he wasn't saying, but he was saying that Rhaenyra was the one who would pass on and do things, and that's just how he fucked it up. So either way,
that's how she read it.
She interpreted it however she wanted.
I cannot wait to see what comeuppance she gets, because I love that actress, and she's doing a great job and making me hate that character.
Well, I'll tell you, season 2, episode 1, there's some comeuppance for what happened in this episode. I'll tell you that right off the bat.
Good.
But continuing on with this and the dragons, dude, when even though they put it in a trailer for this episode, when Vhagar rises up in the middle of that storm, like over the edge of the castle, you're like, fuck. Like, you can see it on his face. 1, oh fuck, I was beat here. 2, oh fuck, that's Vhagar. Which, biggest, oldest dragon, well, more or less. And like the fact
it also immediately tells them who's there too.
Exactly, because you know who's there by the dragon. But it was like,
but that was a total Godzilla moment. Like
it was 100%
come up over the city of Tokyo. Like the very first time they reveal him in the movies, was that.
And I'll challenge you and other people. Go back to when he first leaves the castle in the middle of the storm. There is some. I think they actually play with it a little bit. Like, because 1, Vhagar's gone when he goes to leave. And it's, that's odd. 2, once he's flying away from the castle and he's like trying to figure out what to do, like he's like, oh fuck, which direction do I go in this storm? I can't see shit. And then there's lightning that happens kind of behind him and off to the side.
You get the outlines.
There's an outline that's way too big. Period. It's not when he's up in the clouds. He's still closer to the ground, but they do sneak in an outline of a dragon. There's no way it's Vhagar because it's the size of the castle. Vhagar's not that big. But like, I was like, okay, that was nice. They just snuck that in there, and then you got some of the shadowy stuff in the clouds until they finally did attack. But I love, like, and I feel like they didn't have this idea initially, but they may have altered it to where that Aemond did it on purpose and had Vhagar kill him. Instead, they made him reluctant to do it, meaning that when he goes back to report what happened, he claims that he did. No, he's actually going the other way. He's actually claiming it as, I got my fucking revenge. So that's what actually changed the tones of this.
I don't think that would save his ass.
No, it's not to save his ass. It's a pride thing. He's literally, gotcha. No, it's a very prideful thing. You know how fucking Targaryens are. So he's going to go back and he's going to basically claim victory on this one, even though he was regretful at first, because the other thing is, that Rhaenys didn't kill them when she had the chance during the
when she got
whatever they call that. No, when Rhaenys broke out of the ground with her dragon and they were all there and everybody thought they were going to get toasted. So there's a reason that she didn't kill them. And it's because
I think she's still playing both sides against the middle. I think she's trying to be the last one standing.
She's not. There's no point to it because she has no family at this point to precede her. So there'd be no point to even taking over the crown as it goes. No,
she could pass it to her grandchildren.
I don't think it would work that way because they already exist when they do it. It would have to pass to.
But it's a line.
It would have to pass laterally, and there is no lateral. So
that's so it goes if they can't. Okay, so if it's not your firstborn child, you then have to go to like a brother.
Yeah, and those aren't her.
Not your brother, then it has to be an uncle. And if you run through that line and you don't have any, then it jumps down a generation.
It should,
your firstborn grandson, and if that doesn't work, then it's your the grandson's cousin. So on and so forth.
It would be really difficult to get her on the throne. But the reason that wasn't what she was doing. What it is that there's a whole thing about being known as a kinslayer. So killing your own family.
Gotcha.
So she is a Targaryen. For her to literally turn her dragons on other Targaryens, essentially
It'd be a big
unprovoked.
bad thing.
So, and she even said that basically, like, look, that wasn't my war to start. It's your war to start. So now that the war has begun, okay, cool, we're here. So, but the war was begun because Aemon kills Jacaerys. Or Lucerys. Yeah, it was Lucerys. It was Luke, not Jace.
Yeah, it was the Luke
Jace,
one, yeah.
Jace went north up to
the wall,
Winterfell.
and
Yeah.
stuff.
So apparently
Like Eerie and then Winterfell.
yeah. So apparently his dragon was the last dragon to go to Winterfell until Daenerys did. So we get several hundred years until another dragon actually goes to Winterfell, which is
not several hundred, 170.
Well, you know what I mean.
From the time of the show, so now like 150.
Close enough to being several.
That's not even a couple.
It's close enough to being couple. So either way, it's more than 100 years between dragon visits. We'll put it that way. So
now it's become mythological at that point.
It is. And also there's a whole thing about whether or not there were dragon eggs in a crypt below Winterfell from that visit. So
yeah.
Well, who knows? Either way, that's another part that's going to be in the next season, because apparently there's some not shenanigans, but between his visits to the Eyrie and Winterfell, new helpful characters get involved, and somewhat shenanigans happen. But either way,
now you think they're going to talk about the eggs that Daenerys ends up with before this is over?
They may or may not already have.
Okay.
So there's two theories as to where Daenerys' eggs came from, and it's either from Dreamfire, who was the one who they mentioned Dreamfire by name early on when the baby's egg got stolen by Daemon.
Okay.
So Dreamfire laid a fuckload of eggs. Dreamfire was specifically responsible for most of the dragons that we kind of have here and now. But Syrax laid eggs, not like an episode or so ago. Like in episode 9, remember Daemon was down in the cave and found a bunch of eggs? So either Dreamfire laid a clutch of eggs that were taken at some point, or Syrax's last clutch of eggs becomes that. But I think they're still like really young dragons that we haven't seen yet on screen.
That could also lay the eggs.
That could, well, maybe we'll see. Because dragons don't technically mate. They're asexual. So it's a little weird. Like they can just lay the eggs and they're just good to go. So they don't need like a mating pair. There doesn't need to be a male for a female. And also they're
But is it like the thing like what is that? Is it fish that they lay? They're frogs where they lay the eggs and then the male just jizzes all over every egg he can see?
Fish. That's fish and frogs both do that. No, that's what Reign of Fire did with their dragons, which also didn't make sense because the eggs were fertilized within the dragon that they shot down at that one point. So that also made no sense.
I still love that movie, by the way.
I do too. However, so in this one, dragons are hermaphrodites and they can just choose which sex they want to be. And so they can literally just change from male to female, also like frogs and clownfish and stuff like that. So they can just change all of a sudden. So what was a male frog or a male dragon could just say, okay, well, we need another generation and there's no females around here, and we'll change to being female and then lay some eggs. So, they can just do whatever, and some of them lay a bunch of eggs, some of them lay like one, and then it's one and done. So it's
whatever
really weird.
You do, then don't ever mix dragon DNA with dino DNA because it's gonna fuck everything up.
Well, and then there's also the thing is that a lot of eggs get never actually hatch, which is
that's what I'm saying. There was like a requirement, like they had to be buried, kept hot and
they kept hot, but even then
they go into like a sleeping kind of mode or some shit.
But then sometimes it doesn't even matter what you do, and they just never hatch. Like they're just no good. Like just for whatever reason, they're just basically rocks. So the ones that Daenerys ends up with, they thought they were just rocks and completely useless until she happened to commit a proper act of blood magic that got them to hatch. So, I mean, it is what it is. So,
gotcha.
But some of that lore is still fishy. But going back to your other question, What was that dragon that Damon went to go recruit? Now, I thought that it was one that's known as the Cannibal, but that one would not have been in their dragon pits. That one is just roaming free.
But it doesn't look like he's in their dragon pits to me either, because their dragon pits really look just like a cave almost. This one had like pillars installed in it. That's the point. Shit.
So this is the dragon mound within Dragonstone. So it's basically their first dragon pit. So that's where their dragons essentially are. Now there are wild dragons on Dragonstone, and he mentioned there are three wild dragons. So he mentioned those, and we'll see those because they play a part. But I thought it was the Cannibal at first, but then that wouldn't have worked out. Actually, I was corrected, especially once they watch the thing on it. It's actually Vermithor, which was Jaehaerys's dragon. So the king at the very beginning of the show, that's his dragon that has not had a rider since he died.
So I know in the books, doesn't Daemon end up with like a gold dragon or some shit?
I think no, he stays with his dragon for a long time. There is a gold dragon, but that's Aegon's. Aegon's dragon is a gold one, but they haven't shown them to necessarily have all of their in canon traits. Yeah, they're similar. Like Vermax is green. Sea Smoke is like gray and white and silver, which Sea Smoke's going to come back to. That was what's his name? The one who faked his death. That's his dragon.
And that was Aegon.
Huh?
That was Aegon that faked his death, right?
No, Aegon is the kid.
Oh, you're talking about the Valyrian who faked his death.
Yeah, the Valyrian dude who faked.
The gay black guy.
Yeah, and by the way, that's not out of the book. They wrote that for the show. He actually did flat out die in the book.
Oh, he died in the book?
Yeah. So they faked his death in here, which is actually cool because in theory, he could just come back later if they want, just for help in a battle. So they do have a buttload of unclaimed dragons between Dragonstone and Driftmark. So they do, he counted as like, well, I can get 13 dragons, which is a lot. It's like 13 to their 4. It's like the only problem is they have Vhagar. And we saw what happened there. So, the biggest, oldest dragon that's seen plenty of battle in her life. So they need something that can fight against a dragon that old and experienced. That's one reason he went to Vermithor, because it's old enough. I think it's like somewhere in the 130-year range, something like that. Because dragons can outlive their riders, and then they just get new riders. We saw that with Viserys. He was the last rider of Valerion. Or Balerion. Sorry, I always get that wrong. So a dragon can actually, Daemon's not the first rider of his dragon. Caraxes.
We know that the big ass one has been around for a few hundred years at least.
Yeah, so. Vhagar is something like, I think they said roughly I think they said by the time she dies, I think Vhagar is something like almost 300.
Yeah, so she was like one of the original.
She was one of the original 3 that conquered Westeros. The others were killed in ways that are spelled out in the books. So I mean, even if they actually wanted to do another prequel and go all the way back to that, it would actually be pretty cool because a lot of cool shit happens back then.
That's kind of what I thought they were doing with this when they first announced it, because I thought they were going like 1,000 years in the past.
Yeah, that was the original rumor, but there's so much in this world that they can do. So I mean, it almost doesn't matter. But no, that's Vermithor, and they do try to, according to what I've seen, they do attempt to get some riders that are non-Targaryen because they got to find somebody, and it goes in varying degrees of bad until they find the right person. So, not Targaryens are not the only ones who can ride dragons. It's just whether or not the dragon will allow you to ride it because you're not Targaryen. So, it is what it is. So, I don't know. The show was good. I'm sure some people are going to be iffy, whatever, but I don't think there's anybody who's going to be as pissed off as some of these other shows. I think it's overtaken almost everything else in ratings. It blew away Lord of the Rings by the time it was over. You know, putting those two shows up against each other was super unfair. Because Lord of the Rings had a much harder fight. And now that it's ended, you know, the season has ended. How did you feel about that? Wait, you didn't watch it, right? You're okay with spoiling it, or did you
What?
watch it? Rings of Power?
No, I have not watched it at all yet.
Okay. That's right. I saw.
But before we get into that, I wanted to touch on one more thing on House of Dragons.
Sure.
When I talked about how Aemond did the whole non-vocal just shift in feelings on his face.
Yes.
Same thing with Rhaenyra at the end of the episode, at the very end. Like, you can see in her body language the heartbreak of finding out that your kid's dead.
Yeah.
And then she turns and you see they done fucked up face.
Yeah.
That she
That
has.
was
You
great.
see the tears still from when she was crying for her kid.
Yeah.
But when she turns that hey, we're gonna find a peaceful way to end this shit, that shit was gone, dude. She was not fucking around no more.
That's basically what happened. Was a catalyst was Luke dying. So
yeah. But
think about this.
Actress did a great job.
Oh yeah. So think about this. In the roughly the same day, she found out her dad died. Her throne was stolen.
Mm-hmm. And then her son was killed.
Before that, she lost the baby. She lost her daughter.
Baby.
She lost,
and also, I think another part of it too is you see Damon stood up to her.
Damon choked her out almost.
Yeah, well, not just that, but I'm saying like in the room when he was trying to make commands.
Yeah,
like that's in a monarchy. That's a big fucking.
That's a big no. Yeah,
that's a big, huge fucking no.
So
and he still did it in front of all those people, and then when she tried to set him straight, he was ready to choke her to fucking death. I think, dude. Like, it was crazy.
It's because he's so tired of Viserys's way of doing things, and she's just carrying it on until now. So now he's going to be in full kill and burn everything mode. So he's going to end up flying, I forget what, the Riverlands, I think. So he will end up flying out to get help later too. So that'll be fun. So we have to get more dragons because there's so many of them in this fight. Hopefully they're not going to be changing any actors or actresses anymore other than babies, you know, because at this point we're going to notice. But it was a really strong showing, and I think like it's up there with the character development of people and stuff like that we got with original Game of Thrones, flavor Game of Thrones, but the time skips made it difficult. However, as I mentioned at some point, that Millie Alcock and the other chick who played, I should say Alcock, not to be too rude, the one who played young Alicent, have both said they'd be willing to come back for any flashbacks in season 2, like for scenes that we didn't get, like if we need to go, because they did jump over a few things, nothing too crazy, but they definitely jumped over stuff. So, and also the whole thing is all of this is a retelling by a person named Mushroom, and that person has not even been shown or mentioned. So that's what's really funny about this book is it's all recounting from Maesters and from this one person named Mushroom. That's why it's a really, really interesting story overall. Because we don't even know what is or isn't actually true, because it's all from the point of view of somebody who either heard stories or was there for it.
Right.
So that's why they can make small changes, like what happened with the guy that I can't remember his name all of a sudden. Was it Layman? Was it Layman? What was his name? The gay black one.
Oh man, I don't know.
Why can't I remember his name? It was something,
because they all sound the fucking
they
same.
all sound the same. It is a problem. But either way, I actually the guy who played the older version of him, I actually don't like that actor that much. I've seen him in a few things and he kind of annoys me. So I think I was tainted against that actor, unfortunately.
So you were happy when he quote unquote died?
Well, I was I didn't think they were going to kill him, and then they fucking killed him. And then when they revealed that he shaved off his fucking white dreadlocks and fucking was rowing out to sea with his lover, I was like, "Oh, that's fucking brilliant."
Yeah,
I was like,
I think that
was so well done.
Because I know you're saying, with the family line and the kinslayer thing and all that. I still think there's gonna be a thing between Rhaenyra and Rhaenyra, I think, the aunt and
Okay,
the
it's
queen.
It's Rhaenys and Rhaenyra. You're like
Well, yeah,
you're
whatever,
actually crossing
whatever,
their names both ways. So,
whatever. I don't
wrong
care.
twice.
Then
Yeah,
them two, the queen and the one who wanted to be queen.
they're
That's going to become an issue later on, because she is still convinced that the queen killed her son. So
well
I think he's going to have to pop up that when he sees that that's an issue, or the queen is going
in
to have to send somebody to get him to come back and show, look, he's still alive. We didn't kill him.
well if you had watched the thing at the end, we know where they do the
I
interviews and
didn't.
stuff. Okay, like I said, if you did,
Mhm,
you would have heard
mhm,
that no, that's not what's going to happen. So Rhaenys at this point now, after she sees Rhaenyra, a little bit of change happen right there, and along with the fact that Corlys now gets on board,
mhm.
um, she now sees Rhaenyra as her chance to be like, okay, so she can be what I didn't get the chance to be.
Right.
So like there, in a way, she's actually over his quote unquote death, where Corlys definitely wasn't. Um, and now with everything else going on, and be like, okay, now it was one thing when it was just us Targaryens bickering amongst ourselves. Now it's a different story. Now my cousin is dead. These people have basically declared war on anyone else who could possibly be a successor. I could be on their side, but that's not going to guarantee me anything. I stay on this side. These people don't want me dead because I have white hair. So it's like she is out for her own survival, but she's also on board with her actual family. Not to mention, she and Rhaenyra have always been similar, and actually, Rhaenyra is named after her. Like she's Rhaenyra because she's named after Rhaenys. So
Whatever.
you know how
It's too
they
much.
yeah, no, but that's the tie-in, you know. So it's like everybody has variations of other people's names, if not direct relations, you know. All right, so let's
Right.
wrap up with Andor real quick,
Well,
because
you were starting to talk about
I
what's it
realized you
called?
didn't watch it, so there's no reason for me to talk about it right
Uh,
now. I'll wait for Rob to come back after he's watched it and
gotcha.
caught up. So I forgot that you were the one who wasn't watching it, not Rob. So, and I said earlier before he left that we'll skip over that. We'll just do House of the Dragon and Andor since we're both there. But you didn't watch the last episode, right? You only saw.
Of Andor?
Oh, okay. So Rob, me catching up on everything here.
Rob hasn't watched the
Rob
last one.
hadn't seen that other one.
I've
Okay,
watched all of them.
got you. So it was a different show. Now we're all on the
Yeah,
same page.
because the last episode was the one where it was like more Mon Mothma,
Yes. Yeah. So
yeah, centric. Yeah, I
so
definitely seen that one.
since once again it's been like almost 3
3
weeks,
weeks.
almost 3 weeks since we actually got to sit down and
Mhm,
talk. Also, when shows fall, things fall in weird positions.
mhm,
So Andor, I think it's still getting better and better,
mhm,
and we're
mhm.
getting more of the spy shit. But so the episode where the plan actually went into action and they got into
They
the
did the
base,
heist.
they
Yeah.
did the heist. All that episode was great. Like,
Mhm.
and dude, between the music and the cinematography, you were on the edge of your seat like the whole time, or at least I was. I don't want to speak for everybody,
Mhm.
but it's just like, oh my god, like I am like the tension of this, it was real. I was just like,
Mhm.
it was and realistically, thinking back, I haven't felt actual tension like that to a Star Wars property since Rogue One.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like that, because you don't know. It's like, are we going to get out of this situation? What's going to happen from here on out? These kind of things.
Well,
And I mean,
the problem is it's a prequel and he's in the ship,
yeah.
so he's got to survive because you
So
know what happens to him afterwards.
we do. I mean, there's no tension on anybody dying, but
On him dying.
on him
There's
dying, I
tension
should
on
say, not
everybody else
nobody.
dying.
We
Yeah.
know literally only 3 characters of this show. Well, technically 5 if we count both two tubes. So we
Are they
know
showed two tubes yet?
in the trailer.
Oh, okay.
So there will be 2 tubes. I assume there will be a time skip after this, unless somebody busts him out of jail, because Cassian goes to fucking prison for 6 years somehow. But there's no way he goes to jail for 6 years, because we're only like a few years away from Rogue One. So,
Gotcha. Yeah,
but
it's 5 years. It's 5 years.
it's like
span or
5. I
something
think
like
it's
that.
5 years until
Rogue One.
Rogue One. So there's no way he's going to jail for 6 years. So we know
And he
that's
does not live. That sometimes that makes me sad when you know that. Like if they do a prequel that's that close, you're like, he's going through all this, he's doing all this to better himself, and he's gonna be dead in 5 years and doesn't even realize it. Like that. Like sometimes my brain gets stuck in that little mode, like where I get like not into my feels. Like I'm not crying or anything,
Yeah.
but like it kind of makes me feel bad. Like, man, he's doing all this. He's bettering himself. He's turning his leaf. You know, he's turning that corner, becoming a better man. And for what? He's gonna be dead in 5 years. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's weird sometimes when I watch shows like that, but they are doing an amazing job with it.
But I like how he basically chose to say fuck it to the rebellion and just got his money and knew he could escape and just go live life. And then for him to go back and try to recruit his mom, quote unquote, to go with him, and she's like,
mom.
yeah, and so she literally is like, no, I can't. I'm finally seeing what I fought for 30 years. It's like,
and I thought it was kind of sad he didn't tell her that he was part of that heist she was talking about. Like,
well,
I think he should have.
That way
like,
she
told
couldn't.
her.
It couldn't use it against him. He was pretty smart about that. But I feel what you're feeling too. But I get why.
Because they seem to have a very honest
they do
type of relationship with each other, and I feel like as soon as she mentioned the heist, him just kind of, oh, what heist are you talking about? I feel like that's more of like a break of trust between them two.
Well, because if it comes out, then they can start connecting more dots. And
yeah, but what if it comes out? We know it's going to come out that he was involved in it because the Empire guy is going to go after him. As soon as he heard the heist, you saw his dick get hard pretty much underneath his jerkin. He's going to go try to find the guy.
The guy I can't actually remember his fucking name, but now he got that desk job.
Yeah, it's eventually going to come out that he was involved in it. And then when his mom finds out, then that becomes an issue between them two.
Maybe. Or maybe she's going to
unless she dies before then.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Remember that scene in this final episode? So he goes back to Ferrex? Yeah, Ferrex. And he sneaks in somehow and manages to make it all the way back to home without getting caught by the Imperials that are now taking over. He's trying to get her out, doesn't realize how things have changed since he caused the ruckus when he left, you know, and he tries to go get his not girlfriend, and she's basically like, no, fuck you. My dude died because of this shit, and this place is the worst place because of what you did. Fuck off. And then goes back to mom, and then mom's like...
Which I like how they handled that, because that's a subversion of expectations.
Exactly.
You would have thought she would have ran back to him because they were kind of flirty and kind of beating around the bush during the first couple episodes.
Yeah. I think they had a history, and they just went together.
Well, they did. They said they were together before, but like even then they were kind of still flirty, kind of used to each other type thing. So it didn't.
Which is why the boyfriend
go.
Yeah.
And the formulaic shit, you would think he would have went back to get her and they would have ran off together, but instead they went the opposite direction. She told him to get the fuck out because he fucked everything up.
And that was the reveal, is that he didn't know what happened, and then his mom told him that the fucking dickhead boyfriend guy fucking ratted him out. Yeah. Well, ratted him out. He didn't know what happened. He didn't know who ratted him out.
Oh, yeah, the ratting him out part. Yeah.
He didn't know how they found him or anything else like that, because they came after her because of Cassian's name, and we went to her. Obviously, he wasn't there. So that's why, I think when she told him that's why he didn't mention the heist. Because at this point, they're already connected, and if it comes out, then he's the thing. And remember, in this one as well, the other chick, the only other person who survived the heist, was told to go kill him because he knows Lathan's name. So, or Luthen. I always say Lathan. I think it's Luthen. So,
just say Skarsgård.
Skarsgård. Yeah, exactly. So, or Luthien. It's Luthien.
It's Lucian.
Yeah, it's not actually. Yeah, it's like
to tie into the Harry Potter universe.
Exactly. His dad? Lucius Malfoy. So, who was a Targaryen? So
they're all interconnected. Oh my god! Did we just crack the code?
It is.
Oh my god!
It is. Actually, that's funny. I think in yesterday's episode I made a connection to Harry Potter and some other universe, and I forgot what it was now. I'll listen to it in the end and I'll find out. So the show is getting better with the political intrigue, especially with Mon Mothma, like telling her old friend or whatever. It's like, look, he's like,
do you think that's going to come bite her in the ass, or do you think he's going to help?
No, he's going to help. Because he's already on the rebellion side. Remember, and he said, "You might taste my."
Yeah, they both were saying I'm rebellion without saying that.
They're both saying they're both trying to wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But I love. Okay, so somebody pointed this out when I watch these review things. There's a great visual thing that they do. So they have that whole thing with all of the high ups. You know, all these other senators, all these important business people who are all essentially just imperial fuckers, along with her husband. Which I love that they have such a shitty marriage in this, but it has to be like pristine looking from the outside. I love that. And so all of them are doing their party thing over here. So she grabs her buddy from home, One, because she needs him to get her money to her without her going through normal channels, which is great. But like, she takes him aside and is walking him through to another room to have the quick little rebellious conversation, and she walks through their little side doors that all look like webs.
Right.
So very like visual storytelling where they're talking about this
The
underground
spider
web
webs
of
and
net.
spies. Yeah.
So, and then you've got the other chick, the Imperial chick, who is trying to put all the pieces together. And dude, in that
I'm
meeting,
loving that little
the
meeting
ISB
thing where
stuff, dude, that meeting was fucking full attention. I love that dude.
Yeah.
Literally, he's like, look, she's doing shit that she was told not to do.
Let's
Get
hear
her.
her out.
Yeah. And then he's like, get her. And then the boss is
Mm.
like, well, hold on. Let's hear what she has to say about herself.
Yeah.
And then she says whatever. And he's like, more people should think like you. And the other guy's like,
Mm.
what? And he's like, hey, we're taking you off of that. No, it's hers because she's
Mm.
getting shit done. And it's like, huh.
And then when they left, and he's like, "Watch your back," because he realizes she just put a big target on herself.
Yeah. But did you catch the Clone Wars tie-in?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not. That's
So,
that's a Gort thing, not a
It
Rikki
is.
thing.
But okay, so but it's also it goes back all the way to episode 4 or New Hope. So the guy who came in first at the beginning of that ISB meeting and was talking about all the new Imperial regulations. Look, we're doing this stuff, basically setting up Patriot Act.
Okay.
That guy, if you go all the way back to Clone Wars, was that commander that we often saw on the Republic side with Anakin and Obi-Wan. He was the one normally, like the mustached one who was like involved in all the shit going on back in the day. So the same dude back when it was the Republic eventually switched over and obviously joined in with the Imperials and then joined the ISB. And then later we'll see him with Vader and everyone else on the Death Star.
In the I find your lack of faith.
Yes.
Thing,
So
that room.
Yeah. So the name escapes
So do you think
me.
that room was supposed to be the ISB people, or was that just ship commanders in there?
It's just the higher ups at that point because everybody else is just moving up as you go. He may or may not have been in Rogue One on the Death Star. I have no idea. But I think by that point, because everybody's ranked up, and they're going to keep the loyalist closer and keep rewarding them and stuff like that. And really, it was only Krennic who was talking shit. So what would be interesting is if we get a tease of Krennic or even the Ursos at some point.
Did you think that was K2SO?
I think that it may or may not be. It's kind of one of them might be because it's a KG droid one way or the other.
Yeah, I think they're just generic ones, but I know I'm not the only one who's like
everyone did.
They showed them, yeah.
So I think
then they just made him a generic one. I'm like, then it's not him yet.
Well, because he does reprogram one eventually.
Yeah.
So
I think that's going to be what we get with his jail sentence.
Yeah. And I think that, or maybe it's when he's being hauled off and he breaks out by reprogramming.
Because that definitely wasn't Alan Tudyk talking.
No, because that's the other thing is that I think that voice comes from the reprogramming.
Yeah,
it's not integral to the thing. But I love the idea where it said hang him, and he literally meant keep me here, and it picks him up by his throat. I was like, fuck. It's like, we know he doesn't die, but you still the back of your brain. The back of your brain knows he doesn't die, but watching the show, you think he could fucking die. Yeah,
man, that fight or flight kicks in. You're like, oh shit, gonna choke this dude to death.
And the thing is, he was doing the thing where he literally was trying to not get involved and just fucking stumbled into it and just happened to look barely shifty-eyed enough that they said fuck it, or it's because he was slightly brown. And the other people,
I'm not going that direction.
If you go back and you look at the other people who were running away, I think all of them were of a darker skin tone than everyone else on that beach.
No, I think more just the fact that he was in motion moving because nobody else was. Even the people watching were just sitting there watching it happen.
Yes, and I'm on board with that. But I also think that there is a minor, even within this universe, there is some dumb racial tension. Because, of course, most Imperials, and I say most, are like about as lily white English as you can get.
Yeah, but Star Wars has never been that. They're supposed to be in the future past it. The way they handle
Well,
racism in the Star Wars universe is with droids.
it can't be in the future. It's in the past.
Oh my God, you know what I mean?
Isn't a galaxy far?
there's
There's a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
yeah, but there's
We
supposed
came
to be
from
like,
that. We came from that galaxy.
but they're supposed to be like more forward thinking.
Yeah.
Racism isn't part of their
Now,
thought
it
process.
could.
They use the droid issue to show
Yeah,
racism.
they showed that too. But I was thinking that like, not everybody was like. I think it was also could have been just a poor wardrobe choice on Cassian's part, because like you have all.
Dressed up like he was going out in the snow, dude. What the fuck was his issue?
Well, I think that unfortunately he happened to be dressed and going in the same direction as other people. Now, the other reason I claim that that's a hint towards racism is the, oh, you look like these other guys who cause problems, so we're going to pull you over too. Kind of situation. That's really what happened. Like, he wasn't doing anything wrong. Other people were doing things wrong. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time and just happened to look suspicious, even though he didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying it's, but I'm saying it's a racial equivalent.
If he just sat down and just watched it happen, they would have come up and be like, "Oh, you look shifty because you're brown like they are." But I don't think that's how.
No, I'm not saying. I'm not. Well, okay. So if we eliminate just the skin color part, it does have the same connotations as 3 black guys got pulled over here for an actual crime, and this one happened to be walking nearby, gets busted, even though he wasn't involved, because it goes that way.
But it happens because
But I'm saying that's what. But I'm saying this is what happened to him in the same situation while doing nothing wrong. He just happened to be same place, same time, same direction as people who, in a way, kind of were dressed similarly. It's like you get that report,
in motion and not dressed like somebody chilling.
But he was also going the same direction. He was going the same direction, not the same, maybe the same destination. He's going to the store. He has no idea what's going on. He walked into the incident, is what happened. But he also, in trying to evade the incident itself, he looked like he was evading the cops. So what I'm saying is it has that equivalent in real world to people who have been in that situation. Like, I didn't do anything fucking wrong. And then you get the book thrown at you no matter what. You know, it's like, look, I literally did nothing wrong. 6 years. What for fucking what? And then you get sent off to, you know, obviously not going to go off for 6 years for doing nothing. But like in this case, anti-imperialist rhetoric.
Yeah.
It was like, what? It, like, literally, like, you talked negatively.
I like how she said, she's like, you remember when this used to just be 6 months?
Yeah.
Or 6 weeks or some shit.
Something like that. 6 years. And apparently there was a flub in that section whenever they're actually scanning the cards, you know, like they did the credit card reader situation. Apparently, if you translate it, there was some fuck up there. Because, like, the guy before him technically got his sentence, if you actually look at it. Like, they maybe edited it wrong. But also the names were weird.
Swapped.
Because one of the guys' name is a guy who actually works on the production, and then another one is just a made-up kind of name. But neither was related to Cassian, but the sentence was. But it was in the wrong spot. So when they swiped for the previous guy, it said 6 years, and then the one that when he did it was like something like 4 months or something, but it wasn't the same person. So there was a fuck up, but they figured because it's an Orabesh, nobody will check. All the nerds check. If you put Orabesh on screen, the nerds check. I'm not that nerdy yet, although I could.
But I agree. Andor is just it's either like. Some are better than others, as always, but it started at a high spot, and it's either maintaining that or it goes up. I've never seen it drop to get worse.
To me, there's no.
It might
drop
back down to that baseline on a couple episodes, but it never goes below that original baseline.
One thing I love from this episode, it's not the finale, but I keep thinking it is because everything else is ending at the same time. When Mon Mothma goes back to the shop to talk to him about the raid. And she knows that her driver is ISB. She doesn't know if the other chick is remotely involved. So they go inside and they have a fake conversation in case he can read lips. Faking smiles, fake conversation, innuendo. And then they turn away and then have the real conversation. I was like, oh, that's good. Like, that's really good. It's like
it's got great writing and great acting. They're doing a great job with it.
Oh, and I wanted to point this out because I noticed it. So I remember on Nerd Rage when they were talking about it, and I think it was Chris that mentioned her like hover limo that like really stands out as like super shiny, super perfect, like comparatively. And for the most part, it's pretty much been all CG, right? In this one, it had to have been a practical thing because they show like a full like front and 3/4 side shot of it, and she climbs out of it. So I was like, okay, that is actually a built prop, even if it's only like 3/4 of a vehicle, but it's there. I was like, that's awesome. That's one thing I love about when they shoot in the volume. Like sometimes it is hinky, but other times it's like the best option you can get. You build your whole floor, you have a full-on fake car, you know, right there, and then you got the whole city background, you've got everything around you. And like so everything looks real. It's filmed in camera versus on a green screen. And like and you can tell the difference whenever they do green screen versus the volume in these shows now. Like it's really bad when She-Hulk does green screen. Like everyone can fucking tell. But then when Star Wars does the volume stuff, and mind you, Marvel's doing volume now too. Actually, lots of things. There's, I think I looked it up. There's something like 100 and no, not that many. There's 18 volume setups worldwide, and they're building more. So, like in England, here in the U.S., there's multiple people doing the volume. So,
Gotcha.
Yep. All right, that's fine.
Yeah, but they're doing great as long as they keep along that same line, man. This show can't go wrong.
I think this one has the right people behind it, and we're out of some of the nonsense that really plagued it.
It's definitely the best of all the Star Wars stuff Disney Plus has done, in my humble opinion.
And I think the best reason for it is we're seeing the war part of it. Like we've seen all the stars repeatedly. Can we get some more of the wars of it? That'd be great. It's like, and that's what we loved about Rogue One. It's like we had some connection to the characters. Like we had some people referenced from either Clone Wars or Episode 4, and we got to see the war happening. We got to see the rebels being rebels instead of just the same 5 people over and over doing shit, you know? And in this case, we're seeing how the rebellion truly began and it got really organized, and that's great. And supposedly it's going to run for at least 3 seasons. They wanted to do 5, but that's like 1 a year basically until they get to Rogue One. I think their intention was to run it literally up until Jane Erso gets recruited, you know, which they could do. And I don't think people would get too pissy with it as long as it has the right amount of intrigue and action. Oh, one other thing I want to point out real quick. This is one of the first time we've seen the slightly upgraded leftover clone troopers before stormtroopers.
Say that again.
So in this past episode, we actually saw some troopers on screen. A trick of the mind, you thought they were upgrade like their current stormtroopers. They're not. They're actually some of those clones. They're the in-betweeners. So they're still clones, but their outfits and helmets and stuff have been upgraded to the Imperial side instead of the Republic side. So not all the clones were wiped out. Eventually they do, but so they're leftovers. It's pretty cool. Like it was a thing where I just said, "Oh, cool, stormtroopers." But it was pointed out to me. I was like, "Oh shit, those aren't stormtroopers." So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, those are tweener clone troopers.
Yes,
but I don't know if they ever get taken out. I think don't they have the same thing like
they do eventually.
The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, they eventually just die if they don't upgrade or get some kind of injection.
There is either they just have an expiration date, which we've seen with Rex and even in Mandalorian. Some clone troopers still survive, no problem. So I think
that's what I'm saying. I thought it was like they have to give them medication or something that offsets it shutting down or some shit.
I think they do that before they leave the factory, realistically.
Gotcha.
So they age normally after that. But I think what it is they do, and there was a thing I watched about it a little while ago, and
or maybe it's that thing that's in their head because that's why the clones survive into
that's what it is.
Rebels.
I think it's what it is that eventually they say we don't need the clones anymore, and then they flip that switch and it just kills them all. Yeah, that's what I believe. That's what I saw the other day, because it was literally why are there no more clone troopers? So that's that. I think that's what it was. So anybody who had removed,
we had like a Rex, like as an old man, and all that.
Exactly, so. And he had a kid, right? So they actually reproduced. Oh well, we know that that's doable anyways. So
I don't remember if it was Rex, but it was that other one that went off with the.
That's it. Kids. Was that actually his kid or just her kid and he was there? Because I know the
I
episode
think
you're talking about, but
yeah, because they don't look completely like Twi'leks. They look like human
okay, yeah,
Twi'lek
you're right.
hybrids.
Okay, that's right. They are hybrids. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, it's been a minute since I watched that, but
Yeah.
I did see that episode. It was an important one because
Mhm.
there was like a defactor or whatever they called it.
Yep.
So either way, all right, guys. So we're gonna leave it there, and we're gonna come back next week where everybody's finally caught up on every TV show, right? Right, looking around.
I mean, I'm not gonna be caught up on Rings of Power, but I'll at least be started it, and I don't care if y'all spoil it.
Yeah. See, I didn't even talk about the fact that like one, I've watched the new Hell of a Boss, so I'm up. They finally dropped season 2, episode 2. I'm watching the new series / continuation of Bleach, which is awesome. You know, it's only been a 15-year gap. And what's the other thing I've been watching? We've watched a whole bunch of shit. Not to mention I talked about it in the gap, but didn't mention it outright. I watched Hocus Pocus 2 with the wifey.
I've heard it was better than the first one.
Nope. Not even close. It's fucking horrible. It's 3 old.
The first one was bad to me.
And I remember you saying that, but good God, this was a terrible fucking sequel.
Did they bring back the same actresses? It's all the same actresses? Oh God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for the witches, but everyone else is new. Like that's
what I'm saying. As the witches, though, they brought back Bette Midler and Horseface.
It is a proper sequel, but I always said there was no room for a sequel. They said, "Ha ha, fuck you and your logic."
The Kevin robot said you were wrong.
Yes, in this case, Kevin needed to be shut the fuck down when it came to making Hocus Pocus 2. Please let it die. Well, actually, the way this one ended, no spoilers for anybody who actually cares. They did leave it to where basically the original actresses don't have to come back, and they can just
they
make
either
new
die
shit.
or they pass their witchy powers to somebody else.
Yeah, so we don't have to rely on them for the future. I just won't say how or why. That is some bullshit. Oh, they did introduce a new character that could continue shit from the future or into the future.
Of course.
Which, well, in the lore, they built out the lore a little bit, which is actually kind of cool. Instead of just some nonsense for a silly movie, they actually built out a little bit more of the world and the lore, and they sort of kept that character involved in a way, but not. So it would be interesting to see it continue with that new character and our new quote unquote heroes. So I mean,
I can't remember if Kara liked this one because she's one of those mid-90s.
Is she a white
super
chick?
Gothic. Oh yeah, but there was one of them she doesn't like, and it might be Hocus Pocus.
I don't know.
Like,
she's so much like she's so much like Jessica. I assume.
That like all that mid-90s Gothic. I was super Gothic. I'm super goth. Like all those chicks. There's that list of movies and music and shit that they all like.
Yeah.
She has one that should be in that list that she hates, and I want to say it's Hocus Pocus. If it is, I won't have to watch this.
Yeah.
If that's on her list,
double check and come back. Double check and come back with that.
Here, watch this. I got you covered. She just got home.
Oh, perfect. Bring her in.
Yeah.
Kara.
Yeah, she should be here unless she's like getting changed or something.
It's not like she could hear me anyways.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I'm yelling in your ears.
Yeah.
But see, okay, so Jessica loved the sequel. I was picking it apart. There she is.
Yeah, we're talking about the thing, and I can't remember. I know there's like this list of mid-90s white girls. I'm so gothic, and they all like the same music and movies and TV shows and all that. But I know there was one that you didn't like that should be on that list. Was it Hocus Pocus? Did you like the original Hocus Pocus?
Not really.
Yep, that's the one she didn't like. I knew it was one of them, so that means I don't have to watch that stupid 2. There you go.
Okay. Well, I figured it's either Hocus Pocus or The Craft.
He said it's trash. Him and his wife watched it, and she loves Hocus Pocus, and they said it was trash.
No, she loved this one. She loved the sequel.
No, his wife liked it, but
I acknowledged it was garbage.
Yeah.
It was absolute garbage. It was stupid. It made no sense.
She said she might watch it without me. I'm good with that too, because I was trying to figure out if I was gonna have to watch this one or not.
It's terrible.
I knew there was one that you didn't like that all the super white gothic chicks from the 90s do.
Is that The Craft?
I thought it was Hocus Pocus. I couldn't remember.
Ask her if it's The Craft.
Oh no, she likes The Craft.
Okay, so it's not The Craft. Okay, because there's not that many witchy.
And she said
movies.
Not the new one so much. Yeah,
but
I mean, it's like it's all those. It's Addams Family Values. It's fucking Edward Scissorhands, Nightmare Before Christmas, Sleepy Hollow, Hocus Pocus. Which one? Corpse Bride. Like you see, there's this list of these movies. They all have to check their boxes on.
It's the Hot Topic movies. It's just the Hot Topic movies.
Yeah, exactly. It's the Hot Topics people's movies.
No pun intended.
Yeah. But I knew there was one that she wasn't a big fan of, and thank God it's Hocus Pocus.
Thank God. Okay, good.
Mhm.
So in that regard, she's not that much like Jessica, because Jessica worships that movie. It's fucking stupid. So either way,
Yes.
but we'll definitely have more to talk about. We're trying to get back on our whatever our regular schedule is. We got to get back to it. But I guess your work schedule is a little bit more stable than it was a month ago.
But for now it is.
So
but then
we'll take
even
advantage.
Still, I get called in on my days off, but then it just switches. Like I'm supposed to be off Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays. So Sunday and Mondays were always the ones we tried to stay on. So I'll always be off at least one of them.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're off on a Monday or off on a Sunday, either way, that still works with the schedule we've got. It worked out pretty good today. You know, obviously Dormammu left earlier because dad mode engaged. But it is
through the magic of interneting, you'll never know it except for he just told you.
We talked about it anyways. We led up to him leaving, and then we talked about that he left. And now I'm acknowledging that.
And don't edit out his bad bye either. Just leave the whole thing in.
No, I'm going to edit out the bad bye.
Well, take the good bye and throw it on the end like you're supposed to, or copy it so that it's on the end like it's supposed to be, but leave that whole entire interaction in there.
We'll see what happens if I even remember to edit it out. So either way, guys. So of course you can follow me at all Shoky related things down below. You can follow Ricky's links either to the Nerd Rage Radio Facebook where his promo videos are, or you can follow the Realm of Collectors channel where he does Realm Haddon projects on Friday nights at 8 p.m. And
9 p.m.
Why did I think 8?
I don't know.
9 p.m.
It's 9 p.m. on Fridays.
There we go. So I do at 8. My live streams are at 8 on Friday. So see, that's why I never get to see y'all's, because I'm live at the same time. And of course, Mike's links for the Comic Relief Crusader. Since Mike actually came back for an episode, we'll probably see him in another 3 months. Who the hell knows? I
feel like he's like put himself on PRN status where he just has to show up like once a month to the hospital to keep their job there. I think that's what he's done to himself. Like I show up every once in a while, still on the podcast.
Yeah, well.
Either way, he's doing it more than you, Sean.
That's true. Sean is the only non-repeat returner at this point.
He still hasn't come on with me, and I'm kind of butthurt by that because he was on the first 3 and he hasn't been on the last 27 plus the 50 extras we've done.
Yeah, that's true. 50 extras. I will say, I don't know what our numbers are currently. I'll have to look at it after I put these up. So either way, guys.
I bet you it's close.
Yep. And you can do the like and subscribe thing. Please, we need more subscribers, but we always like our listeners just hanging out. And if you want to comment...
There you go.
Please do, because commenting actually helps the algorithm get boosted. And not to mention, we do read them aloud to embarrass you or, try to agree with your point, because we never disagree with our commenters ever. And of course,
that's not true.
If you want to email us, you can do so at NowYouMadeItAwkwardMail@gmail.com. Not heard from Will or Jay in a while, but other people can also write in. It doesn't just have to be the two. It would be great. Oh, and I did find out we had other listeners yesterday on the Zoom call. There are people who do watch the podcast. I'm just like, oh, hi, what's up? And I'm like, comment, do something. I don't know who the fuck you are. You know,
who was it that listens?
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember. Somebody I hadn't seen before. It was another newbie. I think
Beansy still listens every once in a while.
I think he does. You know, that's why we need to insult Massachusetts more often, and maybe he'll get a rise out of him, or talk about gas prices and OPEC, and I'm sure that'll get a rise out of him. So if he hears this, in theory, he'll comment, or he'll be an asshole and not. Both will be perfectly in character. So either way, we'll see you guys next time. Okay, bye. Jinx.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats.